Chapter 3046. It's that Wang Xian. When Wang Xian entered the library, there were more than 20 people in the library. Sensing his arrival, some of them turned around and whispered to him. Everyone was dissatisfied with the fact that Wang Xian had killed the disciples of Willow Deity Dojo. Wang Xian took a glance at the library and ignored them. He scanned through the books one by one. This time, he wanted to find some information about the Milky Way's aqua race. It would be best if he could find a 9th Order God Emperor realm or a place with a large number of 7th or 8th Order God Emperor realm aquatic creatures. Based on his fishing speed over the past 2 months, it would probably take him 5 or 6 times to increase his strength. Milky Way Icebound Mountain. Milky Way Dark Domain. On a lone island in the Milky Way Sea. Milky Way Volcano Region. The information in the library was abundant. Soon, Wang Xian obtained the information one by one. There was a lot of information here that couldn't be obtained from the Universe AI. The information that could be obtained from the Universe AI was the most basic information. The Universe AI didn't have much information on the Milky Way Icebound Mountain. And here, there was a very detailed introduction to the Milky Way Icebound Mountain, including the dire beasts that lived in it and the strength of the dire beasts. In the Icebound Mountain, there was a huge, desolate beast race, the Icebound Bear. The frozen bear's strength ranged from 5th Order God Emperor Realm to Peak God Emperor Realm. As for the Milky Way Black Domain, there were also many powerful aquatic, desolate beasts. The various detailed introductions made Wang Xian squint his eyes. However, after reading a few documents in succession, he became somewhat hesitant. Be it the Icebound Mountain or the Black Domain, there were Peak Stage God Emperor Desolate Beasts. A Peak Emperor God could already pose a threat to Wang Xian. Most importantly, if Wang Xian were to kill a 9th Order God Emperor Realm Wild Beast, it might cause a huge commotion. It would be dangerous then. An isolated island on the sea, a volcanic region. Wang Xian frowned as he looked at the other 2 sets of information. Without the strength of a Peak Emperor God, it is extremely dangerous to head to these few places. Wang Xian murmured. The stronger the desolate beasts in the water, the more territorial they were. They would gather a group of subordinates. Very few work alone. This is going to be difficult. Wang Xian shook his head. Junior brother Wang Xian, can we talk? Just as he was looking through the information, a voice sounded beside him. Wang Xian turned around and looked to the side. An old man stood beside him. He was very familiar with this old man. He was the gentleman's senior brother who had treated him on the first day he arrived. Senior brother gentleman, what can I do for you? Wang Xian had a good impression of senior brother gentleman. He smiled and nodded his head. The 2 of them walked to the side and sat down. Junior brother Wang Xian must have passed the test of Willow Deity, Reverend, to be able to enter the Willow Deity Dojo. There's nothing wrong with your temperament. Junior brother Wang Xian, it's best that you don't kill each other. Senior brother gentleman said sincerely and earnestly. I know. As long as no one provokes me, I won't lay my hands on others. This is my principle. Wang Xian said with a smile. However, it's best if we don't get into a fight over some small matters between fellow disciples. Brother gentleman said with a smile. Senior brother gentleman, I don't agree with this. Others bully me and snatch my things. I naturally have to retaliate and kill if I can. When 2 races are at war and billions of people are involved, are both races the bad guys? There are no bad guys, no right or wrong. War is war. Are you going to let your opponent live? Wang Xian said plainly. Forgive and forget whenever possible. Senior brother gentleman paused and shook his head. Senior brother gentleman is right. Forgive and forget whenever possible. If the other party didn't have the intention to kill me, I wouldn't have killed them all mercilessly. Wang Xian nodded his head. I can enter the Willow Deity Dojo and pass the test of Willow Deity Reverend. This proves that I'm not wrong. Senior brother gentleman, I still have some matters to attend to. If senior brother gentleman needs any help, I won't decline. He stood up and spoke politely to senior brother gentleman before turning to leave. Looking at Wang Xian's back, senior brother gentleman shook his head and pondered. Senior brother gentleman, what did Wang Xian say? Seeing Wang Xian leave, a few middle-aged men walked over and asked curiously. This is his style of doing things. Senior brother gentleman shook his head and said with slight disagreement, "Style of doing things?" The group of middle-aged men frowned. This senior brother gentleman is a nice guy. He's a little too nice, Wang Xian thought to himself as he walked out of the library. However, it was also very comfortable to interact with such a person. He didn't have to worry about being schemed against. This was probably the reason why senior brother gentleman had a higher reputation in the Willow Deity Dojo. Let's continue fishing. Wang Xian didn't get any useful information from the library. Hence, he flew out immediately. All he could do was continue fishing aimlessly in the Milky Way. Although the speed of improvement would be much slower, the resources he had obtained would be sufficient for him to improve his strength within a year. Wang Xian has left. He's flying towards the Milky Way with a girl. Inform senior brother Bing Ling and the rest immediately. Just as Wang Xian was flying towards the Milky Way, two young men and a middle-aged man at a corner of the Willow Deity Dojo whispered to Wang Xian through telepathy, "Should we follow him?" A youth took out the universe smart brain and sent the message over. Wang Xian is very strong. We aren't his match. We will be discovered if we follow him. It's not worth the risk. The middle-aged man in the middle shook his head slightly. He was hesitant as he looked at the rapidly departing figure. Let's go and see which direction he's heading in. We just have to inform senior brother Bing Ling and the rest. By then, the Ice Mountain race will eliminate this arrogant guy. Tisk, how can he be so cruel to his fellow disciples? Such a scourge should be eliminated as soon as possible. The three of them spoke coldly as they chased after Wang Xian in a flash. They knew that Wang Xian's strength wasn't as simple as they had imagined. Hence, they didn't intend to keep following him. They just had to determine the direction he was heading in. The rest would be left to senior brother Bing Ling Hongtu and the others to handle. Where is he? Why did he disappear so quickly? When the three of them flew out of the Willow Deity Dojo, they realized that the figure in front of them had disappeared. They frowned slightly. Isn't this guy too fast? What's his strength? The middle-aged man in the middle frowned and said, "Are you guys following me?" Chapter 3047. What? When they heard the voice coming from behind, the three of them narrowed their eyes and quickly turned around. Looking at Wang Xian, who was only 50 kilometers behind them, their faces changed drastically. Junior brother Wang Xian. Of course we are not following you. The middle-aged man in the middle squeezed out a smile as he spoke. He looked at Wang Xian with trepidation. Oh, is that so? But why did I hear you guys looking for me? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and looked at them expressionlessly. Junior brother Wang Xian, we are just curious. We don't have any other intentions. One of the young men quickly said, "You guys want me to die?" Wang Xian looked at them with a mocking look on his face. "No, how is that possible? We are from the same sect. Why would we want you to die?" The three of them shook their heads. "Junior brother, is that something you can call me?" Wang Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent as he disappeared. "Not good. He wants to kill us." The middle-aged man in the middle roared and a willow leaf appeared in his hand. A piercing sound came from the side and he felt the threat of death. A green barrier appeared around him, blocking the attack that was powerful enough to kill him. But at this time, a piercing sound came from the other side. He widened his eyes and felt the vitality of his two junior brothers disappearing rapidly. Buzz. In the next moment, his figure disappeared. "You're courting death." Wang Xian glanced at the fleeing middle-aged man and the two corpses beside him. These two were merely First-Order God Emperor and Second-Order God Emperor, yet they dared to target him. Clearly, they were courting death. The two of them did not even have the time to take out the returning leaf. They were too close. They could not even see Wang Xian's attack. Only the Sixth-Order God Emperor realm middle-aged man managed to react in time, and his life was saved by returning leaf. But that was all. Without the returning leaf the next time, he would still die. "Wang Xian, how dare you kill a fellow disciple here? You will die a horrible death." At this time, an infuriated voice rang in the sky above Willow Deity Dojo. The sudden roar of anger and fear shocked everyone in Willow Deity Dojo. What happened? What's going on? Wang Xian? Kill a fellow disciple? Who is feeling indignant for Bing Ling Shan and the others? Within the Willow Deity Dojo, the disciples were slightly shocked. They immediately flew into the sky and looked toward the source of the sound. Seeing the middle-aged man hovering there, they were slightly surprised and flew over curiously. Die a horrible death? You're courting death by following me. This time, the fallen leaf homeward path saved your life. I want to see who will save you next time. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's roar, Wang Xian stared at him coldly. Feeling his gaze, the middle-aged man felt a chill in his heart, and his forehead was filled with cold sweat. The other party had the strength to kill him in an instant. This time, he was able to survive completely because of the venerable Willow Deity's falling leaf path. Next time, he wouldn't be so lucky. He swallowed his saliva and didn't dare to be arrogant anymore. He was really afraid that Wang Xian would target him. Wang Xian's fearlessness struck fear into the middle-aged man's heart. He actually dared to attack them at the entrance of Willow Deity Dojo, and even killed 2 of his junior brothers. This was insane. Junior brother Zhuge? What happened? In the sky above Willow Deity Dojo, the disciples flew to the side of the middle-aged man and asked with a frown. Senior brother gentleman also flew over with a frown and looked at Wang Xian in front of him. Senior brother Yu Yuetian, that Wang Xian. Wang Xian just killed junior brother Sanshui and junior brother Qinghe. He attacked us directly. I reacted quickly and escaped with my life by using the fallen leaf path. However, Sanshui and junior brother Qinghe are all dead. Senior brother Yu Yuetian, you have to seek justice for your 2 junior brothers. The middle-aged man clenched his fists tightly and said in horror, What? Sanshui and junior brother Qinghe were killed by Wang Xian? He killed 2 more junior brothers? He attacked you directly at the entrance of Willow Deity Dojo and even killed 2 of them? This is too unscrupulous. What is he trying to do? In just a few months, he has killed 5 disciples of Willow Deity Dojo. Is he here to kill our disciples on purpose? Furious voices came from the disciples of Willow Deity Dojo. A few old men also frowned and looked a little terrible. If you want to kill me and have ulterior motives, you should be prepared to die. It's the same for everyone. Wang Xian heard the voices of Willow Deity Dojo and warned coldly. After he finished speaking, he moved and dived into the sea below. He left with the heart deer on the 5 elements grindstone. Arrogant, simply too arrogant. He directly killed a fellow disciple in front of the Willow Deity Taoist grounds. In just a few short months, 5 disciples died by his hands. How did such a cruel person enter our Willow Deity Taoist grounds? A middle-aged man shouted angrily, Sai, why did you follow junior brother Wang Xian? Senior brother gentleman shook his head and looked at the middle-aged man helplessly. Senior brother gentleman, even if you followed him, you didn't have to kill 2 junior brothers directly, right? A woman asked with a bitter expression. Junior brother Wang Xian's Dao is different from ours. He is decisive in killing. If you have no enmity with junior brother Wang Xian, don't harbor any ill intentions towards him. Otherwise, he won't have any qualms. Senior brother gentleman reminded helplessly. Does he really think that he can kill whoever he wants? His strength is at most at the 9th order God Emperor realm. With such strength, he doesn't have the qualifications to be unbridled. An old man said coldly, I wonder how this guy entered Willow Deity Dojo. We should report this to Venerable Willow Deity and chase him out. A middle-aged man said solemnly. The rest shook their heads when they heard his words. Which one of them had seen Venerable Willow Deity in person? Not a single one. Venerable Willow Deity didn't care about these matters. Zhuge, this matter is because of Bing Ling Hongtu and the rest. You should let Bing Ling Hongtu and the Ice Mountain tribe take action. It shouldn't be a problem for them to eliminate Wang Xian. Someone suggested. Some people took a look but didn't participate. They left immediately. Brother Wang, those 3 fellows are really annoying. How dare they follow us? One look, and you can tell that they are up to no good. Isn't Willow Deity Dojo supposed to test one's temperament? How can people like them enter Willow Deity Dojo? At the same time, the heart deer said angrily on the surface of the Milky Way. Following a person was a huge taboo. If they were killed, they would be courting death. It's hard to predict a person's heart. Venerable Willow Deity can't always guarantee that a person's heart won't change. Moreover, when they passed the test, their temperament might have been pretty good. Wang Xian smiled faintly and didn't mind. Chapter 3048. Unscrupulous 3-inch what? San Shuiqing and junior brother were killed by Wang Xian at the site of Willow Deity Training Ground. Senior brother Zhuge. We also wanted to help junior brother Bingling and Hongtu track Wang Xian. However, we did not expect him to be so unscrupulous. Junior brother, you guys from the Ice Mountain tribe have to avenge your 2 junior brothers. Brother Zhuge, don't worry. I will report this to my clan immediately. We, the Iceberg clan, will never let him go. Bingling, Hongtu, and the others came to the Willow Deity Dojo after receiving the news. When they received Zhu Ji's report, their expressions were extremely ugly. San Shuiqing had a good relationship with them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be willing to help report Wang Xian's situation. However, now that they had been killed, who would dare to get close to them in the future? Wang Xian had to be killed. Waves of killing intent burst out from their bodies as they clenched their fists tightly. Let's go to race. Bingling Hongtu and the others flew towards the Ice Mountain tribe with gloomy expressions. On the surface of the Milky Way, Wang Xian continued fishing. This time, they flew for 10 hours. In the vast Milky Way, there were no longer any traces of humans. Wang Xian was extremely satisfied with his first attempt as he managed to catch 2 8th-order God Emperor Realm wild beasts. Head to the surroundings immediately and hide yourself. After releasing over 100 Emperor God level battle pets into the Milky Way, Wang Xian issued a command to them. Brother Wang, why did you send them into the Milky Way? Mei Xian Lu asked curiously from the side. Watch the surroundings. I've killed a group of disciples from the Iceberg race, especially 3 disciples from the Willow Deity Dojo. They won't let this go easily, hee. Wang Xian said with a faint smile. Just now, he saw Willow Deity Dojo's Icingling Hongtu clamoring in the group chat, saying that anyone who killed a disciple of the Ice Mountain race would have to pay the price. He said he wanted to destroy him. When he saw this message, he could guess that the Iceberg race was going to deal with him. The Ice Mountain race was a domain-level race and was not weak among domain-level races. According to the Universe Artificial Intelligence, the Ice Mountain race had 7 peak God Emperor experts. He did not know exactly how many there were. However, this force far surpassed all the forces around the ruins of the Emohan clan. Therefore, Wang Xian had to be fully prepared. With their strength, they definitely had a way to track him down. Su Ping ordered over 100 battle pets to spread out in an area to act as scouts. They would report to him as soon as they found traces of the Iceberg race. After setting up the alert, Wang Xian continued fishing. Master Yu, have you locked onto that guy? At the same time, somewhere in the Milky Way, 6 battleships were traveling on the surface of the sea. Every battleship was 10,000 meters long and contained a power that made one's heart palpitate. Above the Milky Way, it did not mean that the bigger a battleship was, the stronger it was. However, any battleship that dared to venture deep into the Milky Way definitely had a defensive power no lower than an 8th-order God Emperor realm. On one of the warships in the center, an old man holding a huge ice sword looked at the old man beside him and asked in a deep voice, "The items you gave me contain too little aura. I can only search in a general direction." Master Yu was holding a book. The book was glowing, and there were red and black dots on it. Go to this area and search for him. Master Yu pointed at an area and said, "All right, after we kill that kid, our iceberg race will definitely reward Master Yu handsomely." The old man holding the huge ice sword promised. Master Yu nodded. Surround him in this area. We must eliminate that brat. The old man holding the huge ice sword waved his arm and an area appeared, which was then transmitted to the 5 surrounding battleships. Yes, it's a guardian. Soon, voices could be heard. How dare he kill the disciples of our Willow Deity Dojo? He must be courting death. The eyes of the guardian with the huge sword were filled with killing intent. 3 disciples of Willow Deity Dojo were killed. This meant that the iceberg race would lose 3 experts. This was only the second reason. 10 days ago, they received news from the disciples of Willow Deity Dojo that 2 of their disciples who were on good terms with them were killed because they helped to track the kid. This was a formless blow to the Ice Mountain race. Their ice mountain race possessed their current strength and had quite a number of peak Emperor God experts. There was a crucial point. 1/3 of the peak combat power of their race came from Willow Deity Dojo. Disciples who entered Willow Deity Dojo and reached the 8th Order God Emperor realm within the time limit set by Venerable Willow were considered trash. It was normal for them to reach the 9th Order, and there were quite a number of peak God emperors. With the death of their disciples and the death of the people who helped them, who would agree to recruit disciples from Willow Deity Dojo in the future. Hence, they had to kill Wang Xian to let everyone know that the iceberg race wasn't to be trifled with. Anyone who dared to kill their disciples would have to pay the price with their lives. Rebuild their prestige. The 6 battleships sped towards the sea region in front of them and spread out, forming an encirclement. As they did not have any personal belongings of Wang Xian, they could only use the soil that he had stepped on to lock onto him. Now, they could only lock onto a rough area. However, this was enough for the iceberg race. This time, they had sent out a peak God Emperor Realm Protector and 12 Ninth Order God Emperor Realm Elders, determined to annihilate Huang Xiaolong. Something's up. Within the boundless Milky Way, Wang Xian, who was taming the wild beasts, raised an eyebrow. A battle pet sent out a signal. This was a warning signal. With a wave of his arm, he kept all the wild beasts on the 5 elements great grindstone back into the mother nest. He narrowed his eyes and scanned the surroundings. Brother Wang, what's wrong? Mi Xi and Lu stood up immediately and looked at the cautious Wang Xian. A few battleships are coming over. I'm not sure if they are from the iceberg race. Wang Xian said. The 5 elements great grindstone dived towards the bottom of the sea. He only stopped after diving nearly 1 billion kilometers into the sea. He raised his head and looked up with his dragon eyes. Master Yu, there's no one in the surrounding sea region. At this time, on a battleship above the Milky Way, the giant sword guardian of the iceberg race scanned the surroundings and frowned. Walala! Master Yu's eyes flickered. He injected energy into the book in his hand, and the pages flipped continuously. Found him. He's in the Milky Way, about 1 billion kilometers away from us. Before long, Master Yu's eyes lit up and he said with certainty. Chapter 3049. Under the Milky Way? Let's go and kill him. The giant sword protector of the iceberg race stood on the deck of the battleship and stared at the Milky Way as he ordered the elders around him. Their figures moved, and they directly flew down to where they were. Master Yu followed closely as he read the information in the book. Surround him and don't let him escape. 12 Ninth Order God Emperors and 1 Peak God Emperor stared coldly at the Milky Way as they flew towards the Milky Way. At the same time, the person below the Milky Way frowned as he stared at the Milky Way with his dragon eyes. With the vision of his dragon eyes and the enhancement of his vision in the water, Wang Xian's vision in the ocean was not affected at all. Even the foresight of a peak stage God Emperor might not be as good as his. Seeing the other party flying towards him, Wang Xian knew that the other party already knew his position. Let's go. He frowned as he kept the heart-crushed deer into the mother nest and hid in another direction. Like a dragon swimming in the sea, Wang Xian's speed was extremely fast. He's escaping in that direction. At this time, Master Yu, who was beside the giant sword protector of the iceberg race, saw the target change direction on the book. He's very fast. Following which, he frowned when he saw the target's speed on the book. Chase. The giant sword protector bellowed as he brought Master Yu to the maximum speed. However, they were in the Milky Way, which was a distance of nearly 1 billion kilometers. It was wishful thinking for them to catch up to Wang Xian. Wang Xian was in the Milky Way, flying towards a direction at high speed. Damn it, he's so fast. The giant sword protector who was chasing after Wang Xian for 10 minutes was embarrassed when he still couldn't see the figure in front of him. However, the good thing was that he could sense some aura. Ice protector, his speed isn't any slower than yours. Master Yu looked at the target's speed on the book with a solemn face. Moreover, we might encounter danger if we travel so recklessly in the Milky Way. Continue the chase. We, the ice protector, will not rest until we kill him. The giant sword protector bellowed with murderous intent. He swung his arm and the giant sword in his hand slashed behind him. A huge, repulsive force caused his speed to reach a terrifying level. I saw it. At this moment, he saw a silhouette rapidly fleeing in front of him. His eyes narrowed, filled with killing intent. Wang Xian also sensed the figure chasing after him. He frowned and increased his speed abruptly. It's picking up speed again, damn it. The giant sword protector's face was incomparably gloomy as he continued his pursuit. Protector Bingling, are we going to keep chasing? With his speed, it will be very difficult to catch up to him. Furthermore, he might encounter powerful desolate beasts. Master Yu did not want to take the risk. Chase after him. With him at the front, even if he is attacked, he will be the first to be attacked. If we chase after him from behind, the danger is very low. Don't worry, Grandmaster Yu. We won't be in danger. The giant sword protector said with a sullen face. All right then. Master Yu thought for a moment and nodded. He wants to fly towards the Willow Deity Dojo. You want to escape to the Willow Deity Dojo? In your dreams. The giant sword protector immediately changed his direction and headed to the side to intercept them. With Master Yu locking onto him, he was not afraid of losing him. 5 minutes later, Wang Xian's expression changed when he saw the experts from the icicle race. I've been locked onto. Wang Xian looked at the two figures behind him with a cold expression. There must be a sorcerer who had locked onto him. Let's see who's faster. Wang Xian's eyes were cold. He pushed his speed to the limit and flew in another direction. TSK, as long as he doesn't enter the Willow Deity Dojo, he will have to pay the price. Arrange for people to guard the surroundings of the Willow Deity Dojo immediately. The giant sword protector's face was sullen. He knew it would be difficult to kill the other party this time. However, as long as he could force the other party back to his own holy kingdom or force him to use the return of the fallen leaves, he would succeed. They would be able to annihilate him the next time around. Needless to say, it would be very troublesome to kill a disciple of the Willow Deity Dojo. Should I keep chasing? Wang Xian frowned as he sensed the figures behind him. Flapping his unbeginning sacred wings, he continued to fly forward. His dragon eyes scanned the area ahead with vigilance. He encountered many God-Emperor-level marine animals along the way. However, at this point in time, he had no time to hunt these marine animals. After flying for more than 5 hours, Wang Xian had no idea where he was. The aura behind him was still chasing him. Still chasing? Wang Xian was a little embarrassed. If the pursuit continued, he wouldn't be able to shake it off, unless Wang Xian could return to the Dragon Palace instantly. However, the Dragon Palace was too far away. I can't waste any more time. Even if Enlai sends me here, it's better than being chased. Moreover, I still have this, Wang Xian murmured. A piece of Return of the Fallen Leaves appeared in his palm. A murderous intent surged in his heart. After shaking them off this time, he would make the iceberg race pay the price. He had obtained the Return of the Fallen Leaves from the few people he killed. Currently, he had 2 pieces in his hands. Swoosh. Oh no. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed a horrifying crisis approaching him. His expression changed as he looked to the side immediately. A wild beast with a sharp head and a slender body was attacking him. The bizarre attack and horrifying speed made Wang Xian's expression change. Wang. At this moment, he crushed the Return of the Fallen Leaves without any hesitation. His figure disappeared in an instant. The wild beast that was hiding in the surroundings saw Wang Xian disappear. It shook its body and let out a low growl of dissatisfaction. That guy disappeared. Master Yu, who was behind, looked at the information in the book and said immediately. A peak god emperor level wild beast appeared ahead. That guy must have been attacked. Hence, he used the Return of the Fallen Leaves to escape instantly. The guardian with the giant sword revealed an excited and hideous look. Let's go back. We have people monitoring Willow Deity Dojo. The guardian with the giant sword revealed a smile and said immediately. At the same time, Wang Xian's figure gradually solidified in Willow Deity Dojo. He looked a little embarrassed. Ha ha ha, Wang Xian, let me tell you. This is just the beginning. The revenge of the iceberg race has just begun. It won't be long before we take your head. Suddenly, a sinister laughter was heard from the side. Chapter 3050. An arrogant and sinister voice rang in Wang Xian's ears. Wang Xian looked to the side and saw two middle-aged men from the iceberg race staring at him coldly. The killing intent in their eyes was unconcealed. Looking at them, Wang Xian squinted his eyes. He didn't pay much attention to them and headed straight to his house. Let's see where he can run to now. Haha. The experts from our iceberg race are monitoring this place. As long as he goes out, we can kill him. Bingling Hongtu and the rest looked at Wang Xian with excitement and malevolence. The experts from their race had already made their move. Killing Wang Xian would be a piece of cake. When a powerful race was on the move, one would feel how terrifying they were. These races really can't be underestimated. Wang Xian returned to his house and frowned. Killing intent flickered in his eyes. In order to obtain a batch of red-winged fishes, those fellows from the iceberg race attacked him first and released the confinement circle. Clearly, they wanted to kill him. Facing such a situation, Wang Xian naturally had to retaliate. Now that he was locked on by the iceberg race, everything would be troublesome. This would greatly affect his hunting of wild beasts. Moreover, there would definitely be people monitoring the surroundings of Willow Deity Dojo. Once he went out, he would definitely be in danger. Now, I have to conceal my aura so that the sorcerers can't lock onto me. Secondly, I have to get out of here. Wang Xian murmured. He took out the universe AI and contacted the heaven array to inquire about the situation. Oh, soon. A message came from the heaven array. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows when he saw the message. During his absence, the Dragon Palace had also gathered resources to upgrade the heaven array to the 9th Order God Emperor realm. Now, he had the method to lock on to a sorcerer's aura completely. Seems like I'll have to ask Enlai to come over. Wang Xian murmured. He gave some instructions through the universe AI and immediately set up an altar in the middle of his house. Wang. Soon, Enlai's figure came out from the altar. Dragon King, what is this place? Enlai looked around curiously and asked, A dojo? Have you brought the things that the heaven array gave you? Wang Xian said, Dragon King, these are the things that the heaven array asked me to give you. Enlai immediately took out a few flags and stuck them on his body to conceal his aura. With the flag planted in the ground, 9th Order God Emperor Realm Magi would have a hard time locking onto him. Even peak God Emperor Realm Magi would need to spend a long time to lock onto his aura. Enlai, this is the star map of this area. Go here and send me here. I'll send you the information. Wang Xian switched on the universe AI, marked a location, and said to Enlai, Yes, Dragon King. Leave it to me. Enlai nodded. He opened his universe AI and disappeared. Since you want to kill me, don't blame me. Wang Xian's eyes flickered with cold murderous intent. Enlai disappeared. Even a universe venerable would find it hard to understand his strangeness. Time ticked by. After an hour, he appeared before Wang Xian. Dragon King, let's go. Wang Xian nodded his head and planted the flag. In the next moment, they arrived at an extremely cold location. At the edge of the Milky Way, in a corner of the Milky Way, there was a huge iceberg. There was also a frozen continent. The land floated above the Milky Way. When Baishu Barth's entire continent was silvery white, and there were many humans on it. There were also many humans living on the huge icebergs beside the continent. There were hundreds of icebergs around the continent, and each iceberg was comparable to a huge star. This was the lair of the iceberg race. Dragon Palace, below us, is the land of the iceberg race. Do you need my help? Enlai pointed below and asked Wang Xian. No need. You can go back first. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. All right, Dragon King. I'll go back now. Hee. I've killed many people with Orochi and obtained a lot of resources. He said with a smile before disappearing. Wang Xian looked at the frozen continent and icebergs below. He transformed and flew over. He landed on the frozen continent and scanned the surroundings. On the frozen continent, all the buildings were made of ice. Some of the ice contained a chilling intent. Clearly, it wasn't ordinary ice. Wang Xian's eyes fell on a slightly luxurious building. He could sense that there were God Emperor Realm experts inside. His body flickered and he entered. In the basement of the building, an old man was sitting inside, looking at the information on the universe intelligence computer. Soul assimilation. The old man didn't sense Wang Xian's arrival. Even with his third-order God Emperor strength, he didn't notice Wang Xian's arrival. Wang. The old man's eyes were dull as he stared at Wang Xian blankly. Waves of information entered Wang Xian's mind. Frozen Legion? Ice Soldier Legion? Wang Xian obtained a piece of information from the old man. The Frozen Legion was one of the strongest legions of the iceberg race. In the universe, every race had their own legions, big and small, and each of them had their own secret legions. The more trump cards a race had, the more things they hid, and the safer they would be. When all of a race's trump cards were exposed, that was when they were in danger. The Frozen Legion wasn't one of the trump cards of the iceberg race. It was just an ordinary legion. However, the Ice Soldier Legion was one of the hidden trump cards of the iceberg race. A power hidden in the dark. The old man used to be a member of the Frozen Legion, and his son was a member of the Ice Soldier Legion. He had a rough idea of where the Ice Soldier Legion was located. I'll make my move after obtaining more information. As Wang Xian spoke, he concealed himself and flew towards the outside. He wasn't in a hurry. Since he had decided to make his move, he would give the other party a painful blow. In the next few days, Wang Xian had been searching for information in the hundreds of icebergs around the frozen continent. Half a month later, his understanding of the iceberg race had reached a terrifying level. He even obtained a list of the Ice Soldier Legion's members and the location of the majority of the iceberg race's experts. If this information was leaked out, it would cause the iceberg race to boil with fear. There are only 5,000 Ice Soldier Legion, 10 Ninth Order God Emperor Realm experts, and the rest are all 4th Order God Emperor Realm and above. There's also the Frozen Legion with over 10,000 God Emperor Realm experts. Wang Xian sat in a restaurant of the iceberg race, thinking about his next move. Tomorrow is the time to act. A faint smile appeared on his face according to the information he obtained. Since the iceberg race wanted to kill, he wanted to see who would be the one killing who. Chapter 3051. The Ice Soldier Corps was one of the 3 biggest secret corps of the iceberg race. It was also the only corps hidden on the frozen continent. For the iceberg race, the people who lived on the frozen continent were generally ordinary people, while the powerhouses of the iceberg race lived on the surrounding icebergs. As the secret corps of the iceberg race, they were hidden in a small town on the frozen continent. There were hundreds of thousands of residents in the town, and they lived like ordinary people. Each of them used an extremely special method to conceal their strength. According to the news, there are only 2 Ninth Order God Emperor Realm experts in the town today. The rest have left for the core of the iceberg race. There's a teleportation array in that room. If anything happens, the experts of the iceberg race can teleport over instantly. There was no day or night on the frozen continent. However, the iceberg race rotated on a meteorite, causing day and night to alternate. When night fell, the town wasn't very lively. Most people stayed in their rooms. Wang Xian leaned against a wall and mumbled to himself as he looked at the surrounding buildings. A Ninth Order God Emperor is in the room beside the teleportation array. I'm going to kill him in an instant. His dragon eyes scanned the area as he slowly entered the ice wall. Wang Xian had 8 attributes now. He could pass through objects of 8 attributes. The ice wall naturally couldn't stop him. The process was smooth. As the secret core of the iceberg race, they didn't set up any powerful arrays or other defensive measures. Once they were set up, people would definitely notice something was wrong and start to suspect them. As a secret core, it was necessary to keep everyone in the dark. Even Wang Xian only found out about it from the son of an elder of the iceberg race. For such a core figure to know about this place, the number of people in the iceberg race who knew about the hiding place of the Ice Soldier Corps was probably less than a few hundred. Attack. When Wang Xian passed through the ice wall, he sensed a figure only 5,000 meters away from him. At such a distance, Wang Xian pushed his speed to the limit. Wang. The moment he rushed over, the old man, who was sitting cross-legged in the room, frowned. The praying mat he was sitting on shone brightly. Die. Wang Xian's expression changed when he saw the praying mat below him turning into a layer of ice to protect the old man. World Breaker. Dragon Eyes 8 Desolation. 5 Elements Dragon Claw. Looking at the old man protected by the layer of ice, he had a bad feeling. He clenched his teeth and roared softly. In an instant, Wang Xian unleashed all his supernatural powers. Ka ka ka. The break world landed on the layer of ice and cracks appeared on it. The chains of the dragon eyes locked to 8 desolates slammed heavily against it, and the cracks grew larger and larger. When Wang Xian's dragon claws landed on it, many of the dragon scales crumbled instantly. However, at this point, he could only give it his all. If he couldn't kill this person, everything would be in vain. A large amount of blood flowed out of the dragon's claw, and it barely managed to enter. He gritted his teeth and used all his strength to attack the old man inside. "Who are you?" Only then did the old man react. He looked at the dragon claw right before him and roared sternly. Layers of frost were sent towards Wang Xian's dragon claw. Bam! Wang Xian felt immense pain from his dragon claw. He clenched his teeth and clawed at the old man in the ice layer. "I love ebooks, Pooh." The dragon claw landed on the old man's head and quickly extinguished his life force. Cough, 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 cough. The distance was too close. Even with the protection of the praying mat, he still couldn't escape. His life force was gone. Phew, I almost died here. This praying mat is at least a peak Emperor God defensive treasure. Just its passive protection almost made me lose my life. Wang Xian looked at the praying mat below him with glistening eyes. The old man didn't even have time to react, but the praying mat he was sitting on had automatically defended him. If the old man had reacted and taken control of the praying mat, Wang Xian wouldn't have been able to kill him. "As long as I kill one, the rest will be easy." He hesitated for a moment and didn't keep the praying mat for fear of triggering some traps. With a swift move, Wang Xian flew towards his next target. The next target was at the other side of the town, disguised as an old man. Perhaps they didn't expect someone to know about their situation and attack them. Therefore, Wang Xian's assassination went rather smoothly this time. With his extreme speed, coupled with the concealment power of light and darkness, he could easily kill experts of the same level as him. Next, I don't have to worry too much. 2 Ninth Order God Emperor Realm experts from the Iceberg tribe were killed. From now on, there was nothing that could threaten him. He shuttled through the town like a ghost. The night was quiet, and the lives of experts from the Iceberg tribe were reaped at a rapid pace. In the end, close to 5,000 Fourth Order God Emperor Realm and above experts from the Iceberg tribe were all killed. Next, the Iceberg tribe. Wang Xian muttered to himself. He teleported and disappeared from the town. Based on his current understanding of the Iceberg tribe, he teleported to a very secretive place. The Iceberg tribe is located on that ice mountain. There are hundreds of thousands of Iceberg tribe members inside, and more than 10,000 God Emperors. The entire ice mountain has a strong defense, but I've figured out the way to enter after these few days. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face as he flew towards the Iceberg tribe. Not good. Something happened to the Iceberg tribe. Just as Wang Xian was flying in the direction of the icebound army, on the largest iceberg beside the icebound continent, one of the old men saw the spirit tablets in front of him shattering. His expression changed greatly as he stood up and shouted. He immediately relayed the news to the patriarch and other experts in the tribe. The Iceberg tribe was one of the secret armies of the Iceberg tribe. There were not many people in the entire army, but all of them were elites. They were one of the trump cards of the Iceberg tribe to deter other tribes. Now that their spirit tablets had shattered, it meant that they had been killed. Swish, swish, swish. Soon, terrifying figures flew out of the iceberg and headed toward the frozen continent. Die. At this time, Wang Xian, who had already entered the Iceberg tribe, did not launch a sneak attack. Instead, he launched an all-out attack. Waves of horrifying destructive force instantly swept across the surroundings. At night, many experts from the Iceberg tribe were resting or cultivating. As the destructive force swept across, they died instantly. Who? Not good. Someone is attacking. The faces of the experts on the iceberg, where the Ice Sealing Legion was located, changed wildly, and they roared. Explode. Wang Xian roared, and the entire ice mountain began to collapse. Only 8th Order God Emperor Realm experts and above could survive under his attack. Go. Chapter 3052. Who Killed Who 3-Inch Rumble. Within the territory of the iceberg race, the towering iceberg symbolized the power of the iceberg race. However, on that night, a towering iceberg suddenly collapsed. Everyone on the iceberg suffered a devastating blow. What happened? Oh no, someone attacked the iceberg army. Damn it, someone attacked us. Everyone, stay alert. In the sky, more than a dozen experts of the iceberg race were flying towards the iceberg continent. When they saw the iceberg collapsing, their faces changed. Something happened to the iceberg army. Now, the iceberg of the iceberg army had collapsed. There was definitely a strong opponent attacking them. Everyone on alert. Everyone on alert. The patriarch of the iceberg race roared coldly. His voice spread to the surrounding icebergs. What happened? The entire iceberg race was in an uproar. Everyone looked around in shock. Hong, patriarch, protector, our iceberg army was attacked. The attack came from within. A large number of our experts and disciples were killed. Just at this moment, a few figures flew out from within the collapsed, towering ice mountain and roared with embarrassed expressions. Damn it! The top powerhouses of the ice mountain race roared with unsightly expressions. There were many elite disciples in the iceberg army. Now, most of them were killed. How could they enter the iceberg where our iceberg army is located? If they aren't disciples of our iceberg race, how could they enter? An expert roared in a low voice with an incomparably ugly expression. It wasn't that easy to break into their lair, their base camp. If one were to force their way in, even a peak Emperor God expert wouldn't be able to enter. How many disciples of the iceberg army died? The patriarch of the iceberg race asked with a bloody expression. Patriarch, at least 200,000 died. They were all elites of the iceberg army. The leader of the iceberg army said with a sullen face, "Investigate. Find out who did it. I want him dead." The patriarch of the iceberg race roared furiously. A large number of disciples of the iceberg army were killed. The core experts of the iceberg army were killed. This time, the loss of the iceberg race was too great. Hee. At the same time, in Wang Xian's room at Willow Deity Dojo, after he returned to the Dragon Palace, he asked Enlai to bring him over. This time around, his attack was very successful. There should be more than 10,000 God Emperor experts who had died in his hands, especially when there were 2 Ninth Order God Emperor Realm experts, as well as the Iceberg Tribe's Secret Legion. Even the Ice Mountain race could not bear such a loss. Wang Xian took out the Universe AI and opened the Willow Deity Dojo group. Ever since he joined the chat group, he hadn't spoken a single word. On the other hand, he had heard those iceberg race fellows say that they wanted to take revenge and told him to wait. I'll kill your Ice Mountain race's tens of thousands of God Emperors and hundreds of thousands of soldiers first. If your Ice Mountain race wants to play, I'll play with you. Wang Xian posted a message and specifically tagged Bing Ling Hongtu and another person called Yin Longyan. They were all disciples of the Iceberg Tribe. What's the situation? 10,000 Emperor Gods and hundreds of thousands of soldiers? In the group chat of Willow Deity Dojo, Wang Xian suddenly posted this message, shocking everyone in the group, specifically mentioning Bing Ling and Hongtu. Was this a declaration of war? And was what Wang Xian said true? At this moment, Bing Ling Hongtu and the rest were having a conversation with their people in the Willow Deity Dojo. Both of their expressions were extremely ugly. This was because they had just received news that their tribe had been attacked. This time, their Iceberg Tribe had suffered a huge loss. A secret legion had been annihilated and the Iceberg Army had also suffered a huge loss. At this moment, when they saw Willow Deity Dojo suddenly mentioning them in the group chat, they were stunned and immediately opened it. When they saw the content, their faces changed and their eyes turned red. It's him. It's actually him. Wang Xian, it's you. You're the one who assassinated the experts of our Iceberg Tribe? You're the one who attacked our Iceberg Tribe? Bing Ling Hongtu's face changed drastically as he questioned in the group chat. What? The Iceberg Tribe had really been attacked by Wang Xian. Hiss. At this moment, the rest of the Willow Deity Dojo disciples who were paying attention to the group chat were shocked when they saw Bing Ling Hongtu's question. Some of them immediately searched and found information about the collapse of a towering mountain peak of the Iceberg Tribe. That newcomer, that Wang Xian, had actually infiltrated the iceberg tribe and killed so many experts. One person against a domain-level tribe? This Wang Xian is really crazy. Some time ago, Bing Ling Hongtu and the rest said that the iceberg tribe had already sent experts to hunt Wang Xian down. In the end, Wang Xian killed so many experts from the iceberg tribe. And from the looks of it, the iceberg tribe has suffered a huge loss. Some of the Willow Deity Dojo disciples murmured, "And lie, bring me out." After sending a message in the Willow Deity Dojo group chat, Wang Xian ignored it and got Enlai to bring him out of this place. Soon, he appeared on the surface of the sea in the Milky Way. Continue to capture wild beasts. We can't let the iceberg tribe delay. If they still dare to come after us, we'll make them pay a greater price. Wang Xian murmured and got Enlai to return. Standing on the 5 elements grindstone, he released the heart deer from the mother nest and headed towards the depths of the Milky Way. This time, the hunting of the experts from the iceberg tribe had increased the resources of the Dragon Palace significantly. It wasn't a waste of time. Big Brother Wang, are those guys from the iceberg tribe coming after us? Standing on the 5 elements grindstone, the heart deer looked around and asked Wang Xian, "I'm not sure. Let's ignore them for now. A domain-level tribe isn't much of a threat." Wang Xian smiled and said, "Continue fishing? All right." The heart deer was relieved after hearing Wang Xian's words. She smiled and sat at the side. As the 5 elements grindstone moved, Wang Xian started fishing and caught wild beasts one after another. At the same time, within the iceberg tribe, a group of experts stood in a hall and looked at a piece of news with gloomy faces. "It's that guy from Willow Deity Dojo. It's actually him. We've already sealed off the Willow Deity Dojo. We didn't see him coming out. What's going on?" The 2 powerhouses growled with gloomy faces. Among them, the protector of the Ice Mountain tribe with the giant sword in his hand said with a baleful expression, "It might really be that guy who did it. That guy has the strength of a 9th Order God Emperor, and his speed is comparable to a Peak God Emperor. He has the strength to kill a 9th Order God Emperor. Based on the traces of this attack, there's a 90% chance that it's him." Chapter 3053. Who will kill who? 4-inch 9th Order God Emperor realm strength, Peak God Emperor speed, and has the protection of Willow Deity Dao ground. The experts from the Ice Mountain tribe had ugly expressions on their faces when they heard the information. An enemy like this was going to be troublesome. With the protection of Willow Deity Dao ground, it was impossible for them to attack Willow Deity Dao ground. The combat power of a 9th Order God Emperor coupled with the speed of a Peak God Emperor meant that they needed a Peak God Emperor to kill him. Previously, Third Protector, you forced him to use returning fallen leaves. In other words, if we can lock onto him, we have a high chance of killing him. The patriarch of the Ice Mountain tribe sat at the side and asked, "Yes, but that guy killed 5 disciples of Willow Deity Dojo. I don't know if he still has any fallen leaves in his hands. Secondly, we have been monitoring Willow Deity Dojo during this period of time, but we didn't find him coming out. Moreover, this time he was able to assassinate the disciples of our Ice Soldier Corps and sneak into the iceberg of the Icebound Corps." The Third Protector said with a solemn expression. Hearing his words, the rest of the experts' faces changed. This was an extremely troublesome fellow. If it was an ordinary 9th Order God Emperor realm expert, their Ice Mountain tribe was confident that they could kill him within a few months. But this fellow was a troublesome one. "Kill. We must kill him. He must pay the price for killing us." A tall and sturdy old man next to him roared with a violent expression on his face. "Kill. If we are intimidated by a 9th Order God Emperor, we will not be able to survive. Everyone, be on high alert." The leader of the Ice Mountain race roared with a sinister expression. Their Ice Mountain tribe had been through all sorts of trials and tribulations. It would be a joke if they were intimidated by a 9th Order God Emperor. Since someone had killed their people, they would return the favor. But there's a problem. Master, you can't lock onto his position. We don't know where he is. The Third Protector said solemnly. Then find a stronger witchcraft to lock onto his position. The Patriarch of the Ice Mountain tribe said. The rest of the experts nodded their heads in agreement. Boom, boom. Within the Milky Way, Wang Xian stared at the wild beasts in the water with excitement in his eyes. Our harvest this time is not bad. 3 8th Order God, Emperor Realm experts, he said with a smile. This time, I can sell it for a good price. Many people are asking me what battle pets I have. The Mi Xian Lu said cheerfully. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. There's still 3 more months. I should be able to get a decent harvest. As he spoke, he immediately began to tame this batch of wild beasts. 3 months later, the battle pet ship of the Immortal Palace once again arrived at the sea in front of the Wangyin continent. The ones from the Mist Race and the One-Foot Race bought all the battle pets. Brother Wang, the people who bought it this time are all from the Mist Race and the One-Foot Race. They must have sealed some information about us. Mi Xian Lu looked at the group of people from the 2 major races and said to Wang Xian, "Don't worry, it doesn't matter who it is. Besides, they won't be able to seal it. Didn't an expert from a low-level race appear among the buyers this time? It won't be long before our battle pets become famous in the Milky Way." Wang Xian smiled nonchalantly. 90% of the buyers this time were from the Mist Race and the One-Foot Race. Clearly, they had used some tricks, but Wang Xian didn't mind. It was fine as long as he got the divine stones. The next sale will be in 4 months. Which force is this Immortal Palace battle pet ship from? How can they get so many battle pets? Moreover, these battle pets are obviously from the Milky Way. They might have captured and tamed them recently. Behind them, the experts of the Mist Race and the One-Foot Race watched the battle pet ship leave. Their eyes glistened. Mysterious. They are obviously not from the human race. Rumor has it that the top races in the universe can tame wild beasts quickly with their bloodline. Could the Immortal Palace battle pet ship be established by a disciple from a powerful race? A short old man from the One-Foot Race said plainly, "No matter what, we'd better not provoke such a mysterious force." One of the experts from the Mist Race shook his head. He looked around and fixed his gaze on a middle-aged man. "It seems like we can't hide the situation here for long," he murmured. "Let's hide it for as long as we can." The expert from the One-Foot Race replied, and the group left. In the universe, time continued to flow and days passed. After selling the battle pets this time, I should be able to improve my strength. On the surface of the sea in the Milky Way, Wang Xian looked at the wild beast he had just tamed with a smile. After about a year, he had finally gathered the resources to improve his strength. By the way, Xian Lu, I remember that the disciple from Willow Deity Dojo is about to arrive, right? Wang Xian looked at the Mei Xian Lu and asked, "Yes, Brother Wang. There's still more than a month." The Mei Xian Lu nodded. "I'll give you some dragon blood. Absorb it and refine your bloodline. You should be able to achieve a huge improvement." Wang Xian waved his arm and passed some dragon blood he had brought from the dragon transformation pool to the Mei Xian Lu. After absorbing it, it should be easy to pass the test from Willow Deity, Wang Xian added. After absorbing a large amount of dragon blood, the divine dragon bloodline in the Mei Xian Lu's body was comparable to an ordinary dragon. With the aptitude of an ordinary dragon and the temperament of the Mei Xian Lu, it shouldn't be a problem for her to enter Willow Deity Dojo. "Thank you, Brother Wang." The Mei Xian deer received the dragon blood excitedly. It looked at the dragon blood excitedly and immediately started to absorb it. "Just one more time and it should be enough," Wang Xian muttered. The dragon blood condensed into a dragonfish, and he threw the fishing rod forward. "Huh. I finally met a 9th Order God Emperor Realm aquatic wild beast. If I met it earlier, I would have gathered all the resources I needed to improve my strength." Very soon, a 9th Order God Emperor Realm aquatic wild beast appeared under Wang Xian's senses and chased after the dragonfish. Wang Xian was pleasantly surprised when he saw the wild beast. This was the first 9th Order God Emperor Realm wild beast he had met since he came to the Milky Way. He immediately pulled the fishing rod and controlled the dragonfish to fly towards him. Whoosh! When the 9th Order God Emperor Realm wild beast was about 100 million kilometers away from him, Wang Xian did not hesitate. The unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind his back, and he attacked the wild beast. 8 Desolation Dragon Eyes. 5 Elements Dragon Claw. In an instant, Wang Xian unleashed all his strength. Chapter 3054. Rise to Fame Roar. 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 That ninth order god, Emperor Realm Desolate Beast was no match for Wang Xian in a one-on-one battle. Huge injuries appeared on its body. Under the relentless barrage of blows, Zhang Xian even used his dragon might and soul assimilation art. It took him more than half an hour before he managed to suppress it completely. Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief as he looked at the heavily injured, desolate beast. Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief as he looked at the heavily injured, desolate beast. If he had not used his soul-devouring power at the end, he might not have been able to tame it. In order to tame a ninth-order god Emperor Realm Desolate Beast, one had to at least possess the strength of a peak god Emperor Realm or even a universe venerable. Buzz. At this time, a faint roar of dragon might came from the side. Wang Xian looked over and saw the misty deer, who was sitting cross-legged on the five elements great grindstone, transforming into her true form. Crystal-like dragon scales grew on her body. Brother Wang, I broke through. I broke through to the sixth-order god Emperor Realm. The misty deer opened her eyes and exclaimed excitedly as she felt the energy flowing through her body. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Get used to it. I'll inform you later that we will be selling a ninth-order god Emperor Realm battle pet. Wow, Brother Wang. You captured a ninth-order god Emperor Realm Desolate Beast? That's amazing. The misty deer looked at him with admiration. She transformed into her human form and happily used the AI to record some videos. Wang Xian smiled and started taming the ninth-order god Emperor Realm Desolate Beast. What? There's a ninth-order god Emperor Realm battle pet this time. Wow, so powerful. A ninth-order god Emperor Realm battle pet. Even the patriarchs of domain-level races only have such mounts. The Immortal Palace's battle pet is really strong. Will they get a peak god Emperor Realm battle pet in the future? On the Universe AI, misty Lu had created a separate group. When she sent out this message, it instantly attracted the attention of countless people in the group. All of them looked at the photos in shock. Wow, there will be a sale in an hour. First come, first served. This will definitely belong to us, Red Mist. Red Mist race, you deliberately imprisoned our disciples to prevent them from divulging this matter. We haven't settled the score with you yet. Things are different now. The Red Mist race and the 1 Foot race blocked the news several times, and most of the battle pets fell into your hands. Now, the Palace of Immortals battle pets have become famous. It's impossible for you to get a large number of battle pets. The Immortal Palace's battle pets are really powerful. Under normal circumstances, even a universe supremacy would find it difficult to tame such a powerful, desolate beast. Does the Immortal Palace's battle pets have a universe supremacy level beast tamer? There was a lot of discussion going on in the group. The number of people in the group had increased by hundreds of millions. In the next few months, more and more people knew that the battle pets of the Immortal Palace were selling a large number of battle pets. Every time the heart deer was put up for sale, there would be a post. The more people followed the post, the more popular it would be. Naturally, more and more people would know about it. Currently, not everyone in the Milky Way didn't know about the Palace of Immortals battle pets, but all the major races were paying attention to it. After all, Emperor God Realm battle pets were very popular in the Milky Way. Not to mention 7th or 8th Order Emperor God Realm battle pets. If an 8th Order Emperor God Realm expert could have a battle pet of the same level, his combat power would be doubled. Big Brother Wang Xian, tens of millions of people are fighting over this 9th Order Emperor God Realm battle pet. It's amazing. An hour later, Heart Deer looked at the data on the platform and said with a smile, not many forces can afford a 9th Order Emperor God Realm battle pet. They must have sent their disciples to fight for it. Wang Xian said faintly, slowly taming it. Now that the Palace of Immortals battle pets had made a name for themselves, with the strength of the major forces in the Milky Way, he could increase his strength to the Universe Supremacy Realm by selling his battle pets. Once he reached the Universe Supremacy Realm, it would be much easier to upgrade the Dragon Palace. Time passed day by day, and the date of the third sale was gradually approaching. Before the Palace of Immortals battle pet ship neared the Silver Wang continent, Wang Xian and the rest saw thousands of people waiting on the surface of the sea. Among them were many 8th or ninth Order God Realm experts, and there were even 5 to 6 Peak Emperor God Realm experts. People from various low-level races stood there, forming an incomparably powerful aura. Around them, some people were surprised and curious when they saw the experts from various races and started discussing among themselves. They're here. Seeing the arrival of the palace of a mortal's battle pet ship, everyone smiled. Those who are qualified to purchase, please board the ship. Those who are not qualified, please wait outside. Heart Deer stood on the deck and said to the crowd, "We know the rules." The group of experts nodded and flew towards the palace of a mortal's battle pet ship. Half an hour later, all the battle pets were sold, and Wang Xian once again gained a large number of divine stones. It's about time. The ship sailed to a deserted place. Wang Xian kept it and flew towards the Silver Wang continent with Heart Deer. The Silver Wang continent was the largest continent in the Milky Way, and also the largest trading market in the Milky Way. There were all kinds of treasures that could be purchased there. In fact, the auction house here had auctioned off treasures of the universe supremacy level. Now, Wang Xian needed to use the large number of divine stones. He had to purchase elixir pills. Wang Xian successfully exchanged all his divine stones for elixir pills at a few well-known elixir pill shops in the Silver Wang continent. It's enough for me to improve myself. Looking at the elixir pills in the space ring, he was extremely excited. After consuming all these elixir pills, he would have the battle strength of a peak emperor god. As long as the supremacy of the universe did not appear, he would be invincible. Wang Xian would even dare to fight a peak stage god emperor sorcerer. "Come, let's go back," Wang Xian said to Heart Deer and flew towards the Willow Deity Dojo with him. He wanted to break through in the Willow Deity Dojo. Finally found it. Ha ha ha, it's all thanks to the divination wizard this time. I'm impressed by the divination wizard's strength. This divine projection mirror is really powerful. At this moment, above the Milky Way in front of the Silver Wang continent, an old man in a white robe floated in the air. He held a mirror in his hand, and 2 figures were reflected in the mirror. Beside him, Master Yu and the 4 experts from the Ice Mountain race stood on both sides. Looking at the scene in the mirror, his face was filled with excitement and murderous intent. Chapter 3055. Ambush and Breakthrough. You have the aura of the girl beside him. Naturally, you will be able to locate him. This is just a small trick. He will be here in a minute. Above the Milky Way, the old man known as the Calculation Wizard said plainly. He did not take their compliments to heart. If not for the Calculation Wizard's reminder, we would not have thought of it. That young man should have an item to conceal his aura. Master Yu said with a smile. This time, it's all thanks to the Calculation Wizard. Let's get ready. We must take his head this time. How dare he kill someone from the iceberg race? He must pay with his life. The 3 guardians of the giant sword said gloomily. Don't worry. Even if he is a peak Emperor God expert, we can still kill him in one strike. The few old men beside him replied confidently. This time, their Ice Mountain race had sent out 4 peak Emperor God experts. They had also used their race's supreme treasure. Be careful. It's best not to let him react. That guy might still have Falling Leaf Homecoming. The 3 guardians of the giant sword reminded. The others nodded in agreement. Falling Leaf Homecoming? Even if I set up a formation, I can't seal off Willow Deity's item. Unless we kill him instantly and don't give him a chance to react. The Calculation Wizard raised his eyebrows and said. The few from the iceberg race nodded. Soon, the few of them hid in the ocean below. In front of them, Wang Xian was in a good mood as he flew towards Willow Deity Dojo with the Heart Deer. His speed was fast. Although he did not unleash it to the maximum, it was still comparable to the flying speed of an ordinary peak Emperor God expert. Wang, however, when he was speeding on the surface of the ocean, he suddenly felt a little dazed, following which a terrifying sense of danger shrouded his heart. Oh no, there's an ambush. He was shocked. Suddenly, a surge of life force came from his heart and cleared his mind. Sensing the threat of death, cold sweat instantly appeared on his forehead. A willow leaf appeared in his hand. Wang Xian looked to the side and forcefully kept the Heart Deer into the mother nest. Boom, boom, boom. The next moment, a terrifying attack landed in front of him. The willow leaf gave off a ray of light and shrouded him. When the attack landed on the returning path of the fallen leaf, Wang Xian saw a crack on the returning path of the fallen leaf. However, the fatal attack was blocked, and his figure disappeared. Damn it! How can his reaction be so fast? Below him, the 4 experts from the iceberg tribe and the calculation sorcerer flew up. When they saw Wang Xian disappearing, their faces turned exceptionally grim. I have laid down a great array here that can intimidate one's mind. Even a peak stage god emperor expert would be dazed for a moment. To think that he actually became clear-headed in an instant. The divination wizard frowned slightly and said with a face full of surprise, "Did that guy keep the fallen leaf in his hand all this time? He actually activated it in an instant." It actually failed. The 4 peak stage god emperors from the icy mountain race had ugly expressions. He probably doesn't have any more fallen leaves in his hands. I should be able to kill him next time. The 3 great sword protectors said with a gloomy face. Fallen Leaf had saved that guy's life twice on the way back. I'm just afraid that he will continue to hide in the Willow Deity Dowfield and not come out. This time, he suffered a loss again, so he might take revenge on our Ice Mountain race. If he enters the territory of our Ice Mountain race again, then one of the experts from the Ice Mountain race had a change of expression. Not only was that guy tough, but he also had some strange tricks up his sleeves. Even with their people monitoring the Willow Deity Dowfield, that guy could still sneak out without anyone noticing. I intercepted his aura just now. The Willow Deity Dowfield can shield my divine developing mirror, but as long as he comes out, I will be able to lock onto him. At this time, the calculation sorcerer said plainly, Sorcerer Calculation, you have a backup plan? The 4 experts from the Ice Mountain race were overjoyed as they quickly asked. When you guys said that he had the fallen leaf in his hands, I already made preparations. Don't worry, as long as he comes out of the Willow Deity Dowfield, the divine developing mirror will be able to lock onto him. Unless, his aura concealing treasure is much stronger than my divine developing mirror. But just now, I didn't sense any treasure of that level on him. The calculation sorcerer said confidently, If that's the case, that's great. With you around, I don't believe that guy still has the fallen leaf in his hands. When the 4 experts from the Ice Mountain race heard his words, their expressions softened a little. Although they had let him escape this time, he had also used up a fallen leaf. They really didn't believe that he still had the fallen leaf. As long as he appeared again, it would be the time of his death. The eyes of the 4 of them were filled with ferocity. Damn it, I almost died just now. At this time, in the Willow Deity Dowfield, Wang Xian looked a little embarrassed. Just now, he felt his mind was in a mess. Coupled with the fatal attack, with his reaction speed, he would definitely have died. He couldn't even react in time. However, the progenitor tree at the location of his heart trembled gently, allowing him to regain his consciousness. Moreover, the progenitor tree controlled the fallen leaf to fly out of the nest and activate it automatically. If it wasn't for the progenitor tree, Wang Xian wouldn't have survived that terrifying ambush. It must be the people from the Ice Mountain race. They are my only enemy here. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that I would almost die in their hands? Wang Xian mumbled to himself as his eyes were filled with ferocity. This time, he was really close. It's all thanks to the progenitor tree. It seems like the progenitor tree is gradually gaining sentience and is able to protect its owner. He mumbled to himself as he placed the heart deer in the periphery and walked towards his house. The heart deer was curious and wanted to ask something. However, when she saw Wang Xian's expression, she didn't probe further. I'll increase my strength first. After that, I'll wipe out the Ice Mountain race. When he returned to his room, Wang Xian's eyes were shining and his heart was filled with murderous intent. Not only did his previous attack not cause the other party to fear him, it even intensified. In that instant of attack, there were at least 4 to 5 peak God Emperor experts. Since that was the case, there could only be one between him and the Ice Mountain race. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as he took out all the elixir pills he had bought and poured them into his mouth. The elixir pills turned into dragon energy and increased rapidly. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up to 4th Order God Emperor. Ding. Congratulations to host for comprehending nomological superpower. 8 Brilliance Dragon Scale. When 90% of the elixir pills were consumed, the system's voice sounded. Level up. Rays of light radiated from his body, and dragon scales appeared on the surface of his skin. The dragon scales shone with 8 rays of light and looked extremely mystical. The shadow of a divine dragon circled around him. A powerful aura was emitted from his body. Wang Xian opened his eyes and revealed a smile. Finally, he had broken through. He was just one step away from becoming a universe supremacy. Chapter 3056. New Disciples of Willow Deity Dojo. Upper name. Wang Xian race. Yin Yang 5 Elements Dragon, one with the dragon, rank. 4th Order Void God Emperor, Divine Dragon Transformation 8th Transformation, Origin. 1%, 99% required for the next breakthrough, Magic. Dominate the aquatic creatures, dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level. Devour living things to extract the source. Control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine Dragon. Transformation Divine Powers. Soul Capture, Spirit Attachment Nomological Divine Abilities. Dragon Eye Lock, 5 Elements Dragon Claw. Yin Yang World Destroyer. 8 Glory Dragon Scale. Dharma Form, 5 Elements Grindstone, Dragon Country in the Palm, Dragon Head Descending, 10,000-mile Dragon Body. Yin Yang Polarity. Yin Yang 5 Elemental Bowl. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. Law of Mastery, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light. Dark Wind Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Own Dragon Palace. Level 9 Dragon Palace members. 10344450. Looking at his own attributes, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He slowly opened his palm and layers of dragon scales covered it. The dragon scales emitted an 8-colored radiance. With a thought, the color of the dragon scales immediately changed. The 8 luminosity dragon scale was the nomological superpower that Wang Xian had obtained from his breakthrough. This nomological mystique was extremely useful to Wang Xian now. First of all, this was a defensive-type nomological mystical ability that could greatly enhance one's defense. Secondly, the 8 luminosity dragon scale could freely change its attributes. In other words, Wang Xian could change his aura at will in the future. In fact, when the 8 elements were mixed together, his aura would become extremely chaotic. One of the benefits of this was that he could escape the lock-on of wizards. The lock-on and curse of a sorcerer were useless against Wang Xian. This was because the target and the curse needed to have his aura and the items on his body. Now that his aura had changed, it was impossible to lock onto him. Moreover, even if the other party had something from Wang Xian, they wouldn't be able to cast a curse on him. This could also be called invulnerability. With this power of law, I won't be targeted by the sorcerer. However, according to the heavenly formation, I should not have been targeted so accurately by the sorcerer. Could it be that the sorcerer has an acquired treasure that can lock onto me? Or could it be that the heart deer has locked onto me? Wang Xian guessed the 2 possibilities and squinted his eyes. Next, it's time to call Orochi and the others over. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Wang Xian would definitely not let off a force that had tried to kill him several times. It was a fight to the death. Now that his power had reached the peak of Emperor God, he might not be invincible below the universe paragons, but there were probably not many in the entire universe who were stronger than him in this realm. His speed was comparable to a universe first-level paragon. He could instantly kill a peak stage God Emperor expert in a one-on-one battle. Now that he had the strength, he would naturally make the iceberg race pay the price. In a flash, he arrived at the place where the Mi-Xian deer lived. Brother Wang. Mi-Xian Lu was cultivating. When she saw Wang Xian, she smiled and shouted. I'll use the room upstairs, he said. You go cultivate and try to get into the Willow Deity Taoist Right Temple Disciple recruitment. Wang Xian smiled and instructed her, after which he went to the upper floor. This time, because there might be more people coming, in order to prevent the venerable Willow Deity from sensing him, he came to the periphery of the Willow Deity Dojo alone. After setting up a Devil Soul altar, Dark Blaze, Yamada no Demon Fiend, and the other 2 quickly walked out of the altar. Greetings, Dragon King. The three of them bowed respectfully. How's the situation at Dragon Palace? Wang Xian asked. Hee, Dragon King, don't worry with us around. We've assassinated many people from the Red Mist race. They're holed up in their planet and don't dare to come out. None of them dares to provoke us now. Yamada no Demon Fiend chuckled. That's good. This time, I'll give you guys a mission. Enter the iceberg race through parasitism and try to obtain as much information as possible. I'm going to make a move on them. Wang Xian said coldly. Dragon King, you've made a breakthrough? Dark Blaze asked in surprise. Wang Xian nodded. Dark Blaze, you know where the iceberg race is. Bring Yamada no Demon Fiend and the rest over. Be careful, they have many peak stage God Emperor experts. Rest assured, Dragon King. Leave it to us. Yamada no Demon Fiend and the other two said confidently. Wang Xian nodded. The two Ninth Order God Emperors he killed in the iceberg previously were used to increase the strength of Yamada no Demon Fiend and Yamada no Demon Fiend. Both of them possessed the combat strength of a Ninth Order God Emperor. Wait here, I'll head over first. Dark Blaze moved and disappeared in an instant. Before long, he returned and left with Yamada no Demon Fiend and the rest. It's best if I can get rid of the iceberg race within 2 months, Wang Xian murmured. There are so many people outside. At this time, he saw a large number of ships and sailboats gathered outside the Willow Deity Dojo. There were also a few floating islands that were larger than the Willow Deity Dojo. Is the Willow Deity Dojo recruiting disciples? Wang Xian looked around and saw countless young and middle-aged men gathering. Every 1,000 years, the Willow Deity Dojo would recruit disciples. To many young and middle-aged men in the Milky Way, this was a grand event. If they joined the Willow Deity Dojo, they could reach the 8th Order God Emperor realm at the very least. This was one of the reasons. Secondly, they could get to know more experts. They could even join any race they wanted. Moreover, they would be nurtured as the core disciple. There were many benefits to joining the Willow Deity Dojo. This resulted in the recruitment every 1,000 years. Countless people would come. Powerful forces would also bring their disciples over. Wang Xian opened up the Willow Deity Dojo's group chat and found many people discussing this matter. Last time when Willow Deity Dojo recruited disciples, no one succeeded. He wondered if there would be anyone this time. Days passed. Wang Xian did not take any action during this period. He was waiting for news from Yamada no Demon Fiend. In a short span of 10 days, they had parasitized a Ninth Order God Emperor realm expert from the iceberg race and obtained a large amount of information. Ninth Order God Emperor realm experts were considered to be part of the upper echelons of the iceberg race. Now, the two of them were preparing to parasitize the grandson of the current patriarch to see if they could obtain more core information. While Wang Xian was waiting, the Willow Deity Dojo became livelier. Not only hundreds of millions of people gathered on the surface of the sea, there were also many Willow Deity Dojo disciples inside. When Wang Xian arrived at the Willow Deity Dojo, he only met 2,000 to 3,000 disciples. He had not seen most of them before. Recently, many disciples had returned. Clearly, they were here to watch the show. There were also disciples from various races in the Willow Deity Dojo. They were here to welcome their clansmen and disciples participating in the recruitment. Chapter 3057. Brother Wang Xian. I'm going to take part in the entrance assessment of Willow Deity Dojo. Time passed day by day. Mi Xian Lu sent a message to Yi Shiwen. Oh. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow when he saw the message. Try to get into Willow Deity Dojo. Don't follow me for the time being. I still have some matters to settle. You can communicate with the others in Willow Deity Dojo about your cultivation. Don't join other races after you enter Willow Deity Dojo. When you choose the treasures of Willow Deity, choose the Fallen Leaf path. Wang Xian guessed that the other party might have locked on to Mi Xian Lu during the previous ambush. Hence, he decided not to bring Mi Xian Lu along before eliminating the Ice Mountain race. Moreover, once he joined Willow Deity Dojo, he would be much safer. All right, Brother Wang. Mi Xian Lu nodded her head after receiving Wang Xian's reply. She looked outside and flew over. At the same time, Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before leaving the room and flying towards the exit of Willow Deity Dojo. Below the exit, hundreds of disciples of Willow Deity Dojo were standing in front. They either crossed their arms or sat there, smiling as they looked ahead. There were also many gathered together and chatting. In front of Willow Deity Dojo, there were about 50 to 60 million young and middle-aged men. All of them looked nervous. Around them, there were countless experts hovering in the air. These were the battleships, airships, and floating islands of the universe's primary races and domain-level races. To join Willow Deity Dojo, one had to be at least a God Emperor. There was no age limit. In other words, the 50 to 60 million members were all God Emperors. Their strength ranged from First Order God Emperor to 8th or 9th Order God Emperor. Wang Xian walked to the side, leaned on a willow branch, and watched calmly. Wang. At this moment, the willow branches in the center of Willow Deity Dojo formed a blurry human figure. A green light shrouded the 50 to 60 million people. Seeing this light, everyone was slightly nervous. The assessment had begun. Swish, swish, swish. Soon, about 10,000 people were shrouded by the green light and pulled to the front. Swish, swish, swish. Thousands of willow branches formed a dark path, pulling the 10,000 people into the depths of the path and disappearing rapidly. Sigh, they were eliminated again. Only 10,000 people passed the first round? Ha ha ha, there are more than 10 people in our clan who have passed the first round of examination. I hope that one of them will be able to enter the Willow Deity Dojo. A disappointed and excited voice came from the front. Out of more than 50 to 60 million people, only a little more than 10,000 passed the first round. Some people were happy while others were sad. Wang Xian looked over and saw that the heart deer had passed the first round. According to his evaluation of the Xin deer, entering the Willow Deity Dojo should be a piece of cake. After all, after Wang Xian's enhancement, her bloodline was considered very pure. It would be easy for her to cultivate to the universe supremacy level in the future. If he couldn't enter again, then it wouldn't be right. There was a commotion in front of him. As Wang Xian swept his gaze across, the names of some races popped up in his mind. In this part of the Milky Way, there were more than 10 primary races in the universe. He saw a race with a skull flag and narrowed his eyes slightly. The Skeleton Clan was also the clan that had annihilated the Emohan clan. Time slowly passed. From time to time, people would emerge from the path formed by the willow branches, shaking their heads in disappointment. More and more people came out, and the people in front of the Willow Deity Dao ground were not too surprised. Previously, no one entered the Willow Deity Dao ground. 2 hours later, most of the people had come out. At this time, the path formed by the willow branches disappeared. 6 willow branches carried 6 people and floated in the air. There are actually 6 people who passed the assessment this time? Wow, there are so many people joining this time. There are 6 in one go. The disciples of the Willow Deity Dao ground looked over and revealed a surprised look. There are actually 6 people joining this time. That's rare. At the front, everyone looked at the 6 people on the willow branches with envy. Wang Xian looked at a figure and revealed a smile. Buzz buzz. At this time, his universe AI vibrated. Wang Xian squinted his eyes when he saw the information on it. He immediately flew out. Junior brothers and sisters, welcome to the Willow Deity Dao ground. After the 6 new members of the Willow Deity Dao ground chose their treasures, the group walked towards them. There were more than 5,000 people. This time, almost half of the disciples of the Willow Deity Dao ground had come. Haha, greetings to everyone. I am Long Zaiqian. Among the 6, a young man with a horn on his head and a long sword in his hand looked at the disciples of Willow Deity Dojo in front of him, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Ha ha ha, young Master Long, congratulations. I told you, with your talent, young Master Long, you will definitely be able to enter the Willow Deity Taoist rite. As soon as he finished speaking, more than 20 middle-aged men in the Willow Deity Taoist field quickened their footsteps and walked over with respectful expressions. When the crowd heard their words, they were shocked. Long Zaiqian of the Dragon Descendant race. He's a genius of the Dragon Descendant race with a powerful bloodline. I've heard that when he explodes out with power, he's able to fight above his level. It's actually him. Why did he join our Willow Deity Dojo? When some people heard this name, a look of surprise appeared on their faces. The Dragon Descendant Universe race was one of the stronger races in the Milky Way. Long Zaition was even the pillar of the current generation of the Dragon Bloodline race. His bloodline had returned to its ancestral state, and he had the strength to fight above his level. It was rumored that he had a 100% chance of breaking through to the universe venerable realm. So it's young Master Long Zaition. Nice to meet you. Many disciples of the Willow Deity Dojo immediately cupped their hands in greeting. They didn't have the slightest attitude of a senior brother or sister. Even they had to assess such a pillar of the race, even if the other party had just joined the Willow Deity Dojo. Everyone, today, the Dragon Descendant race will be treating you to you High Tavern. The experts of the Dragon Descendant race smiled and said, "Haha, thank you, senior brothers." The crowd laughed and said, Junior sister, are you with Wang Xian? I didn't expect you to join the Willow Deity Dojo too." At this time, someone at the side felt that Xian Lu looked familiar and asked, Some disciples of the Willow Deity Dojo looked at Xian Lu with doubt in their eyes. "Yes, Big Brother Wang brought me here." Xian Lu smiled and nodded. Hearing her acknowledgement, some people's eyes flickered as they looked at Bing Ling and Hong Tu. Chapter 3058. This junior sister seems to have a good relationship with Wang Xian. Hearing the conversation here, Bingling Hongtu turned his gaze over with a cold glint in his eyes. "Of course. Big Brother Wang saved my life not long ago. I know you guys. I wanted to snatch the wild beasts from us, but Big Brother Wang killed me instead." Xian Lu looked at Bingling Hongtu and said with a smile. Bingling Hongtu and the rest narrowed their eyes when they heard Xian Lu's words. All right, let's go." Senior brother gentleman looked at them and tried to resolve the situation. "Humph. It won't be long before that Wang Xian disappears from this world." Bingling Hongtu roared with a cold expression. Xian Lu pouted. Junior sister, come here. Since you've joined Willow Deity Dao Ground, we're a family." A middle-aged woman waved at Xian Lu. "Sorry, senior sister. I don't join any forces." Xian Lu looked at the middle-aged woman and said directly, "Haha, senior sister is also an unaffiliated cultivator. I cultivate with a group of sisters and learn from each other." The middle-aged woman laughed and explained. "All right." Xian Lu smiled and nodded her head. "Sorry, senior sister. It's fine, it's fine." The middle-aged woman shook her head. In Willow Deity Dao Ground, most of the senior brothers and sisters are good people. "Who is that Wang Xian? What's the situation?" Long Zaiyan asked the old man beside him. "Young Master Long, not long ago, a new disciple of the Willow Deity Dojo had a conflict with a few disciples of the Ice Mountain tribe. In just a year, he killed 5 disciples of the Willow Deity Dojo, as well as a large number of experts of the Ice Mountain tribe." The old man whispered, "Oh, how strong is that new disciple? He killed 5 disciples of Willow Deity Dao Ground. Isn't he a little too reckless?" Long Zaiyan asked curiously. "He seems to be a 9th Order God Emperor. He's fast." The old man replied, "That Ice Mountain tribe shouldn't have lost so many people to a 9th Order God Emperor, right?" Long Zaiyan asked indifferently. "The Ice Mountain tribe attacked twice, but he escaped. He's probably going to be killed soon." The old man said with a smile, "A 9th Order God Emperor Realm Cultivator dares to be so arrogant? Unless he doesn't step out of the Willow Deity Dao Plaza, we won't be able to protect him." Long Zaition said indifferently. The group arrived at Yuhai Tavern. Within the Willow Deity Daoist grounds, the disciples of the various races were in a group. There were also quite a few unaffiliated people. The men were basically led by the gentleman's senior brother, while the women had a larger group. Among the group of over 30 female students, the strongest had the strength of a 9th Order God Emperor. As soon as the Xian deer arrived, it was immediately pulled into that small group. Because there were no conflicts of interest, nor were there any racial standpoints, everyone got along well. Just as the Xian deer joined the Willow Deity Daoist field, Wang Xian had already arrived at an ice mountain belonging to the iceberg race. Dragon King, This is the residence of the Ice Mountain Tribe's patriarch's grandson. This grandson is a ninth Order God Emperor realm expert. His prestige in the Ice Mountain Tribe is very high. In a luxurious room, two old men stood in front of Wang Xian and spoke with smiles. How much information do you have? Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he asked. Dragon King, the Iceberg race has 8 Peak God Emperor realm experts and 39th Order God Emperor realm experts. They also have a Hotian treasure, the Frost Sword. Currently, the Frost Sword is in the hands of the Iceberg race's patriarch. One of the old men from the 8 branches parasitic beasts said, 12-inch, have you obtained any resources from them? How much do you need for one of you to break through? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, we have quite a lot of information. However, if you want me or 8 branches parasitic beasts to break through to the Peak God Emperor realm, I'm afraid it's still a long way off. We need at least 7 to 8 ninth Order God Emperor realm corpses. Demon Fiend pondered for a moment before replying, let's not take any action for now. If one of you can break through to the Peak God Emperor realm, it will be much easier to parasitize the Iceberg race's patriarch. Wang Xian said. Both Demon Fiend and 8 branches parasitic beasts nodded their heads in agreement. It's not good for us to kill all the ninth Order God Emperor realm experts of the Iceberg race. Otherwise, it will arouse suspicion. Leave it to me. I'll take care of the resources for you to break through. Wang Xian pondered for a moment before replying. Now that his strength had reached the Peak God Emperor realm, it was time for him to explore some dangerous places. All right, Dragon King. We'll stay here for now. Both Demon Fiend and 8 branches parasitic beasts nodded their heads. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at Enlai. Enlai brought him away immediately. Since we're going to annihilate the Iceberg race, we'll have to give them a fatal blow. Be fully prepared. Enlai brought Wang Xian to the surface of the Milky Way. He looked behind him before flying deeper into the Milky Way. The Milky Way Black Domain. A lone island on the Milky Way Sea. Milky Way Volcano Domain. Various places flashed across his mind. Wang Xian switched on the AI and locked onto the volcano domain. The Milky Way Volcano Domain was a sea of lava. Below it was a huge cluster of volcanoes. The volcanoes erupted all year round, and the seawater there was red. A large number of aquatic beasts lived there. Among them, there were many Peak God Emperor realm and Ninth Order God Emperor realm beasts. His destination was the volcano domain. Wang Xian flew at a terrifying speed. After more than 10 hours, Wang Xian felt a heat wave coming from the front. He squinted his eyes and a fiery red sea appeared in his vision. The sea was tumbling, and it was boiling hot water. There was even some lava floating on it. Wang Xian's figure flickered, and a layer of fiery red dragon scales covered his entire body. He stepped on the sea and continued flying forward. After flying for another hour, Wang Xian stopped. The density and strength of the beasts here are much higher than other places. Wang Xian thought to himself as he sensed the auras coming from below. The fishing rod appeared in his hand. With a wave of his arm, the dragon blood condensed into an arowana and flew down. After his strength increased, Wang Xian's coverage area had increased significantly. He could cover a radius of 1.2 billion kilometers. The arowana entered the volcano domain and swam around. Soon, it attracted the attention of many beasts. 5 8th Order God Emperor realm beasts. There are indeed many high-level beasts here. It won't be long before I can gather all the resources needed for Orochi and the rest. Wang Xian sensed the beasts below, and his eyes lit up. Dragon eyes locked. Sensing the rapid gathering of the wild beasts below, Wang Xian shook his body and launched several terrifying chains towards the wild beasts. First net. Chapter 3059. Meeting, Fairy Dragon Clan 2-inch Tame. He managed to capture over 200 God Emperor realm beasts in one go, and 4 of them were 8th Order God Emperor realm beasts. With the enhancement of his strength, the dragon power on Wang Xian was stronger and the speed of taming was much faster. 10 days later, Wang Xian went fishing for the second time. Huang Xiaolong's luck was not as good as the first time, but he still encountered an 8th Order God Emperor realm wild beast. Wang Xian was pleasantly surprised. At this rate, It wouldn't take more than 2 months for one of them to reach the peak Emperor God level. If their luck is good, they might be able to catch a few Ninth Order God Emperor Realm beasts, and they might be able to break through to the peak of the God Emperor Realm. Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he tamed the wild beast that he had fished for the second time. As he swung his fishing rod, the arowana formed from dragon blood swam rapidly beneath him. Zizi, it's not good for us to sneak out like this. If we encounter humans or powerful desolate beasts, we will be in trouble. Xiao AI, what are you afraid of? This time, I have brought Uncle Earth's dragon scale. The pressure on it is sufficient to prevent peak stage god emperor desolate beasts from attacking us. Furthermore, we are only going to get some food. The Milky Way is so big. How can it be so easy to meet humans? At the same time, two demons were chatting under the Milky Way not far away from Wang Xian. The demon beasts looked very strange. They had the upper body of a human and the lower body of a dragon. Their faces looked very beautiful. Their round eyes looked around, and they were obviously very excited. All right then, I'm going to be bored to death if I stay down there all day. This volcano region's aura is so uncomfortable. The figure on the left also nodded excitedly. Quick, let's go get some water fire fruits to eat. We haven't tasted any delicacies in a long time. It's all because of those hateful humans, the other figure said, and the two of them swam forward quickly. Zizi, look ahead. There are so many desolate beasts there. There are even 2 8th Order God Emperor Realm beasts. Why are there so many desolate beasts gathered here? At this moment, Little Grief, who was on the left, sensed the movement in front of her. She stretched out her finger in surprise. Suddenly, her eyes lit up and she shouted, "Look, why is there a blood-red fish there?" That's true. Those desolate beasts are all attracted by the blood-red fish. Let's go take a look. Zizi, who was on the right, swayed his dragon tail and immediately went over. Be careful. There's an 8th Order God Emperor Realm wild beast over there. What's there to be afraid of? We have Uncle Two's dragon scales. An 8th Order God Emperor Realm desolate beast wouldn't dare to attack us. As they spoke, they flew forward curiously. Do you feel it? Zizi, why do I feel an attractive force coming from my bloodline? What is that? It's the divine dragon bloodline. It's the divine dragon bloodline. Xiao AI, that's a fish with the divine dragon bloodline. Why does that red fish contain such a thick divine dragon bloodline? The two of them widened their eyes and looked at each other with passion in their eyes. Could this be fishing bait? Humans often use treasures to fish. Isn't this fish a little strange? The bloodline of a divine dragon. Who would be willing to use such a precious treasure as bait? This small fish's bloodline should have returned to its ancestral state. It's possible. Let's capture him and let Chief Uncle Two and Sister Sun have a look when we return. As the two of them chatted, they quickly chased after the arowana and flew upwards. Walala! But at this time, chains suddenly extended from above. The speed of the chains was terrifying. Even an 8th Order God Emperor Realm desolate beast was bound in an instant. Not good. Zizi and Xiao AI's faces changed when they saw the chains that suddenly appeared. We're finished. Looking at the approaching chains, they didn't have the slightest bit of strength to resist. The terrifying force had bound them. Use Uncle Two's dragon scales to block it. We can escape back to our god kingdom in an instant. Xiao AI shouted with a face full of fear. No, these chains have a terrifying force. Uncle Two's dragon scales are useless against them. Zizi roared in despair. Walala! In the next moment, their bodies were pulled out of the water and mixed with the group of desolate beasts. Bam! As their bodies were thrown out of the water, their faces turned pale as they looked around in fear. At this time, Wang Xian's gaze swept across the group of desolate beasts. He was slightly taken aback when he saw two creatures with the upper bodies of humans. Flood dragon. And that dragon's scale. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and sized up the two flood dragons. With a wave of his arm, the two flood dragons flew towards him. No, don't kill us. Xiao AI and Zizi looked at Wang Xian in horror as their bodies shivered. They realized that they were in danger this time. Wang Xian looked at them and stretched out his hand to grab the dragon scale on their bodies. An extremely familiar feeling came to him. This is? His eyes flickered. This familiarity made him feel as though he was connected by blood. Brown dragon scales, connected by blood. Earth divine dragon. Where did you get these dragon scales from? Wang Xian stared at them and asked agitatedly. We picked them up. Please let us go. Xiao Ai and Zizi could feel the pressure from Wang Xian. Their faces changed drastically as their eyes turned red. Wang Xian's body shook as the dragon might shrouded them. Both of them were merely first or second order God Emperor realm. Speak. Wang Xian stared at them and growled. These are Uncle Tu's dragon scales. Both of their expressions changed as they replied respectfully. The water clan that was being dominated could not resist at all. Who's Uncle Tu? Wang Xian asked immediately. He's Sister Lingxiu's mount. He's a pure-blooded earth divine dragon. He's the benefactor of our fairy dragon clan. Both of them replied respectfully. Lingxiu. Wang Xian's body trembled when he heard them. Bring me to where you are right now. Now, he said hurriedly. Yes. They nodded and flew in one direction. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept all the wild beasts before following closely behind the two fairy dragons. The two fairy dragons did not resist at all under his rule. They brought Wang Xian to the depths of the volcano region. After flying for half an hour, they arrived at the crater of a volcano. Both of them took out a disc and placed it beside the crater. There was another entrance at the crater. Both of them flew in immediately. Wang Xian followed closely behind with excitement and anticipation. His eyes were flickering. It had been more than a decade. More than a decade had passed. Wang Xian followed them into the volcanic cave, and they continued flying. They were surrounded by rolling magma. After flying downwards for more than 10 minutes, they entered several hidden entrances in the middle. Wang, we're here. It's right in front. The two fairy dragons said respectfully as they pointed to an entrance. Chapter 3060. The Fairy Dragon Tribe, 3-inch lead the way. Wang Xian stared at the entrance with glistening eyes. The two fairy dragons immediately led the way in front respectfully. Zizi, Xiao Ai, when did the two of you run out? Huh, someone's here. Who are you? Who are you? Just as the two fairy dragons entered, the two ladies in front who were holding folding fans and carrying long swords were slightly taken aback when they saw them. However, their expressions changed drastically when they saw Wang Xian behind them. Oh no, something's wrong with Zizi and Xiao Ai. At this time, one of the ladies sensed the faces of the two fairy dragons. Her pupils constricted and her eyes were filled with horror as she shouted loudly. Sure. A hurried voice came from her and spread across the entire area. Wang Xian stood there and did not take any action. His gaze swept across the surroundings. There was a huge space ahead that was enveloped by magma. There were some buildings in it. Other than flames, there was nothing else in the entire environment. In terms of survival, it wasn't advantageous. The space wasn't huge, with a radius of about 100 kilometers. When the woman sent out the urgent signal, figures quickly rushed out from the building in front of them. They had grave expressions on their faces. A dragon roar sounded from the center ahead. An earth divine dragon over 10,000 meters long flew out from a building. Two figures stood on the back of the earth divine dragon. One was a familiar figure in a white dress, and the other was a lady with a human body and a dragon tail. They also stared ahead with grave expressions. However, when the lady in the white dress saw the figure standing at the entrance, her body trembled. Swish, swish, swish. Who are you? Who are you? A few thousand ladies from the fairy dragon tribe flew over quickly. They surrounded Wang Xian and stared at him with vigilance and murderous intent. In the Milky Way, humans were their enemies. Wang Xian didn't care about them as he stared at the beautiful figure and sensed the familiar aura. Speak. Who are you? What did you do to Xiao Ai and Zizi? In the middle, an old lady questioned Wang Xian with a bitter look. Her eyes were beaming with murderous intent. At this moment, the earth divine dragon that was flying over suddenly shivered when it sensed Wang Xian's aura. The broken connection seemed to have been reconnected. Wang Xian looked at the Earth Divine Dragon and the beautiful figure with a faint smile. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand and floated up into the sky. A series of dragon roars came from the 5 elements grindstone. The figures of the 4 divine dragons, metal, wood, water, and fire, appeared on the grindstone. Roar! Upon hearing the roar of the divine dragon on the 5 elements grindstone, the Earth Divine Dragon in front lifted its head and flew towards the grindstone. On the back of the Earth Divine Dragon, Sun Lingxiu pulled the shocked girl and flew up. Roar! At this moment, Wang Xian lifted his head and let out a dragon roar before transforming into his divine dragon form. The body of the divine dragon, which was more than 20,000 meters long, emitted an 8-colored radiance, a powerful dragon might, and a sacred body. This is? At the front, all the members of the fairy dragon clan watched this scene in shock, looking at the divine dragon that was filled with divine might. Wang Xian swayed his body and flew towards the beautiful figure above. Xiao Xian, the beautiful figure in white, couldn't help but cry out softly with a hint of tears in her eyes. Wang Xian swayed his body and hovered in the middle, staring at her with his dragon eyes. Lingxiu, it's been more than 10 years. I finally found you. The 8-colored figure gradually turned illusory. Wang Xian turned into his human form and stood beside Sun Lingxiu with an agitated look on his face. Xiao Xian. Sun Lingxiu pounced over with joy written all over her face. Wang Xian hugged her and was overwhelmed with emotions. After more than 10 years, they had finally met. What's going on? Below, Wang Xian had retracted his rule. Xiao Ai, Zizi, and the rest, who had recovered, lifted their heads and looked up in shock. Is that Miss Sun's man? The members of the Fairy Dragon clan were also shocked to see this scene. They were shocked by the 8-colored radiance of the divine dragon and the huge grindstone that was hovering in the sky. On the grindstone, the Earth Divine Dragon that had been helping them was entrenched with a few other divine dragons. The power of the 5 elements had completely merged and powerful auras could be felt from above. Zizi, Xiao Ai, what's going on? The members of the Fairy Dragon clan walked over and asked when they saw the two of them hugging and the dumbfounded Zizi and Xiao Ai. Elder, Zizi and I went out to play. In the end, we were attracted by a small fish with the bloodline of a divine dragon. In the end, we were caught by him. After that, we felt that we were being controlled by him. Hence, we brought him here. Xiao Ai lowered her head and replied meekly. Although they knew that they were in the wrong, they did not dare to lie given the current situation. Moreover, judging from the current situation, it might not be a bad thing. You guys. The few women glared at the two girls and looked up into the sky with flickering eyes. Miss Sun mentioned that she came from a divine dragon force and her husband is the leader of this force. Is that him? What a pure bloodline of a divine dragon. The members of the Fairy Dragon clan looked over and were extremely shocked. All right, don't cry. After hugging for 5 minutes, Wang Xian patted Sun Lingxiu's shoulder and spoke softly. Yeah, I'm just too emotional. I knew that one day, Xiao Xian, you would come and look for me. Sun Lingxiu nodded her head and spoke with teary eyes. That's for sure. Wang Xian smiled. Sun Lingxiu wiped her tears and looked at the girl beside her with a smile. Xiao Xian, let me introduce you. This is the leader of the Fairy Dragon clan, Xian Lingyuan. Sister Lingyuan, this is Xiao Xian, my husband. Nice to meet you. I'm Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at the leader of the Fairy Dragon clan and extended his hand. Thank you for taking care of Lingxiu during this period. Nice to meet you. It's Lingxiu who has been taking care of us. Without her, the Fairy Dragon clan would have been annihilated. Xian Lingyuan shook her head and extended her hand. Her eyes flickered as she looked at Wang Xian. Lingxiu, let's talk inside. All right. Sun Lingxiu nodded her head delightedly and looked at Wang Xian. Wang Xian smiled and waved his arm. The 5 elements grindstone flew towards him. Lingxiu, this Earth Divine Dragon, the leader of the Fairy Dragon clan, Xian Lingyuan, looked at the 5 elements grindstone and the silhouette of the Earth Divine Dragon on it with her mouth agape. This Earth Divine Dragon is a special clone of mine. Wang Xian smiled and said, A special clone? Xian Lingyuan was shocked. She knew that the Earth Divine Dragon was a true divine dragon. She did not expect it to be just a clone. Chapter 3061. Meeting, Fairy Dragon Clan 4-inch Little Xian. After I separated from the Blue Moon, I went to the ruins of the Ink Han clan. After entering the ruins, I obtained an opportunity. My strength rose to the 2nd Order God Emperor realm, and the Earth Divine Dragon rose to the 6th Order God Emperor realm. After we came out, we were chased by several experts. Thus, we fled to the Milky Way. It's been 5 years since we've been in the Milky Way. Furthermore, we've met Big Sister Ling Yuan and the others. In the room where the Fairy Dragon tribe resided, Sun Lingxiu told Wang Xian everything that had happened over the years. For more than 10 years, she had been chased all the way here. Wang Xian felt a little heartache as he caressed her hair. This won't happen again, Wang Xian said with determination, and Sun Lingxiu nodded happily. By the way, why are you staying in such a secretive place? Is it because of the humans? At this moment, Wang Xian looked around, glanced at Xian Lingyuan and the rest, and spoke. Not long ago, Wang Xian had heard about the Fairy Dragon tribe from the Mi-Xin deer. This was the only demon-like dragon tribe in the Milky Way. They possessed the strength of a domain-level tribe. Yes, Xiao Xian. In the current universe, the situation of the Divine Dragon and Lesser Dragon isn't very good. Unless they can break through to become a primary race in the universe, they will be hunted by other races and used as mounts or even sold. Sun Lingxiu said with a slight frown. Wang Xian nodded his head. He was already very clear about the current situation of the Flood Dragon in the universe. With your strength, although you aren't too strong in the Milky Way, you shouldn't be too weak either. Don't tell me you're one of the primary races in the universe? His eyes flickered as he glanced around. According to his senses, there were 3 peak Emperor God experts from the Fairy Dragon tribe in the room. In addition, the Earth Divine Dragon also had the combat power of a peak Emperor God. They shouldn't be in such a situation, unless there was a universe primary race hunting them down. It's the universe's primary races, the Dragon race, the 9 Swords race, and the Skeleton race. Some of them want to capture us as mounts, while others want our bloodlines. Xian Lingyuan said with a sullen expression. She looked at Sun Lingxiu with an apologetic expression on her face. Lingxiu has already broken through to the 7th Order God Emperor realm, but her cultivation has regressed because she forcefully treated our Fairy Dragon clan's injured disciple. Originally, our Fairy Dragon clan had tens of thousands of disciples, but now there are only a few thousand. As she spoke, a look of hatred appeared in her eyes. The Dragon race, the 9 Swords race, and the Skeleton race. Wang Xian squinted his eyes with murderous intent flickering in them. Xiao Xian, it's the 3 primary races of the universe. Many members of the Fairy Dragon race died in their hands and were taken away by them. Sun Lingxiu also clenched her fists, her eyes revealing a cold look. She, who possessed the light origin physique, was naturally kind and even had a little Virgin Mary inclination. To be able to make her so angry, one could imagine how furious she was towards the 3 primary races. If it wasn't for the spiritual Earth Divine Dragon, our Fairy Dragon clan might have perished. Xian Lingyuan, who was sitting at the side, had a bitter look on her face. The reason why the Earth Divine Dragon was able to improve so quickly is also because of the huge amount of resources you guys have provided. Sun Lingxiu said, Have you been hiding here all this while? Wang Xian looked at them and sighed in his heart. We are prepared to hide here and wait for the Earth Divine Dragon's strength to break through to the universe supremacy level. Then, we will be able to have a territory in the Milky Way and slowly develop. As Sun Lingxiu spoke, Xian Lingyuan and the others nodded. I wonder if you guys are interested in joining the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian pondered for a moment before extending an invitation. The Fairy Dragon clan belonged to the Vipera Dragon clan. Their bloodline wasn't low and was comparable to ordinary dragons. However, that was all. Without resources and cultivation techniques, it would be extremely difficult for them to break through to the universe supremacy level. Join the Dragon Palace? Xian Lingyuan was taken aback as she looked at the few elders beside her. You guys have the bloodline of the divine dragon, but it's still very thin. Moreover, you guys probably don't have the cultivation techniques of the divine dragon. It will be extremely difficult for you guys to break through to the universe supremacy level. Our Dragon Palace is a clan with pure divine dragon bloodline and possesses the complete inheritance of the divine dragon, Wang Xian said to them. The other party was Lingxiu's friend. Over the past few years, Lingxiu had clearly integrated with the Fairy Dragon clan. If they could join the Dragon Palace, it would be a significant boost to the strength of the Dragon Palace. Pure divine dragon bloodline and the complete inheritance of the divine dragon? Xian Lingyuan and the few elders of the Fairy Dragon clan were taken aback. Their eyes were burning with passion. Wang Xian nodded his head plainly. With a wave of his arm, the divine dragon circled around him. This was the true divine dragon technique. We can join the Dragon Palace, but we hope that the Dragon Palace can help us take revenge. Xian Lingyuan exchanged glances with the few elders and spoke with hatred. Xiao Xian, Ling Yuan's mother, who was also the previous clan leader, was killed by the dragon descendants a few years ago. Her blood was extracted, and her body was refined into elixir pills. So, Sun Lingxiu whispered to Wang Xian through telepathy. All right. The Dragon Descendants clan, Nine Swords clan, and Skeleton clan. I'll definitely annihilate them. In the future, I'll spare no one who covets the Dragon clan. Wang Xian's eyes flashed with ferocity. Around the ruins of the Ink Han clan, some forces coveted the divine dragon bloodline. Now that In He was here, the Azure Dragon was killed and used as a mount. If the divine dragon wanted to rise again, roar in the starry sky, and stand at the peak of the universe, they had to fight their way out. A wave of dragon power gathered within his body. All right, we believe in you and Sister Lingxiu. If the Dragon Palace can help us take revenge, we'll do anything. Xian Lingyuan and the rest stood up and spoke with determination. All you have to do is to be loyal. I don't need anything else. Wang Xian shook his head and looked around. I'm going to build the Dragon Palace here. Once the Dragon Palace is built, you guys can go to the other regions that we currently control. Build the Dragon Palace? Xian Lingyuan and the rest were shocked. Sister Lingyuan, you guys can just watch from the side. Sun Lingxiu said to them. Wang Xian gestured to Sun Lingxiu and flew outside. All disciples of the Fairy Dragon, fly to the sky. Sun Lingxiu followed closely behind. Her voice spread over 100 kilometers. Now that she had a high status in the Fairy Dragon clan, the group of fairy dragons flew to the sky curiously and looked over. Wang Xian looked at the resources in his hands and immediately built a level 8 dragon palace. Under their shocked gazes, a dragon palace appeared in their line of sight at a terrifying speed. Dragon Gate Challenge. With your bloodline, you should be able to pass it easily. Don't put up any resistance. After the dragon palace was built, Wang Xian reminded all the fairy dragons. End of chapter. Chapter 3062. The formation of the 5 elements Great Grind. This dragon palace is so beautiful. There are all kinds of buildings, and it is completely isolated from the heat outside. It's so comfortable. I feel so comfortable in here. These dragon statues are so realistic. Inside the dragon palace, all the members of the Fairy Dragon clan entered with joy on their faces. There is a teleportation formation here that can teleport us to the main Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace there is 1 level higher than here. Wang Xian introduced the Fairy Dragon tribe with a beaming face. Thank you, Dragon King. We will just stay here. The eyes of Xian Lingyuan and the rest flickered as they carefully observed their surroundings. It's okay. Let's go to the main Dragon Palace and have a look. It's okay if you want to live here. I'll take you to the main Dragon Palace. Wang Xian shook his head with a smile and led them into the teleportation formation. Wow, is this the main Dragon Palace? What dense spiritual energy! When the group of fairy dragons arrived at the main Dragon Palace, there was another round of cheering. It was pleasant to hear them chatting with each other. So. At this moment, many figures were flying towards them. Prime Minister Turtle, Heavenly Formation, Roving Heavens, Roving Chi, Roving Lobster, Roving Girl, etc. When they sensed the auras of the Dragon King and Sun Lingxiu, they immediately flew over. Greetings, Dragon King. Welcome back, Dragon Queen. The group of Dragon Palace leaders immediately said respectfully. Lingxiu. The group of girls also flew over, their faces filled with pleasant surprise. They hugged him one by one. When Sun Lingxiu saw them, a smile bloomed on her face as she welcomed them happily. Prime Minister Turtle, this is the Fairy Dragon Clan. They will be members of our Dragon Palace in the future. Show them around, said Wang Xian to Prime Minister Turtle with a smile. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. Prime Minister Turtle is in charge of everything in the Dragon Palace. When I'm not around, some things are discussed and decided by Prime Minister Turtle and the other civil servants of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian introduced Xian Lingyuan and the rest of them. Then, Prime Minister Turtle brought them around the Dragon Palace. Soon, the members of the Fairy Dragon Clan cheered one after another. Dragon Cave, Dragon Field, Dragon King Palace, Dragon Transformation Pool, Sea Calming Divine Needle. Their faces were filled with shock when they saw the buildings, especially when they realized that any random member of the Dragon Palace had a divine dragon bloodline that was much higher than theirs. They even saw 9 wind divine dragons swimming in the Dragon Palace. Based on their understanding of the Divine Dragon Clan, this was a true, pure-blooded divine dragon. When Prime Minister Turtle introduced the powerful dragon species to them, they were even more shocked, especially when they found out that the Dragon Palace had achieved its current strength after being established for just over 20 years. They felt shocked and fortunate. Wang Xian did not interrupt the group of girls who were reminiscing about the past. When he arrived at the Dragon King Hall, the 5 elements grindstone was spinning in front of him. Wang Xian's face was filled with excitement. The great grindstone of 5 elements was the first divine weapon he had ever created, and it was also the weapon he was most comfortable with until now. Ever since he had fused his clone with the 5 elements grindstone, the grindstone's attacks had become much stronger and smoother. However, the 5 elements grindstone had always lacked an Earth Divine Dragon. Without the Earth Divine Dragon, the 5 elements would not be able to fully circulate, and the 5 elements grindstone's offensive power would be greatly weakened. Now that the Earth attribute Mystical Dragon had returned, the 5 elements grindstone was finally complete. Currently, he had 5 avatars inside the 5 elements Great Grindstone. The Earth-attributed Divine Dragon had a 7th Order God Emperor Realm cultivation. The rest of his clones only possessed the cultivation of a 5th Order God Emperor Realm. Without the Earth Divine Dragon, the 5 elements grindstone's offensive power was around the 8th Order God Emperor Realm. It could not keep up with Wang Xian's strength. This was mainly because the clones had fused with the 5 elements grindstone. In order for the 5 elements grindstone to improve, it needed to absorb the 5 elemental divine weapons and energy. Now, with the addition of the Earth Divine Dragon, the 5 elements grindstone's offensive power was forcefully raised to the peak God Emperor Realm. After all, the Earth Divine Dragon alone could unleash the combat power of a peak God Emperor Realm expert. This was only one of the reasons. The fusion of the Earth Divine Dragon had completely formed the 5 elements of the 5 elements grindstone. In the future, even if they did not use any resources, their cultivation speed would increase by several times. If the other 4 divine dragons could also reach the 7th Order God Emperor Realm, the 5 elements grindstone would be able to kill a 2nd Order Universe Venerable. After all, the 5 elemental divine dragons were fused together. In the past, when Wang Xian possessed 5 elemental divine dragons, he could fight opponents 5 levels above him. If I want to raise the other 4 divine dragons to the 7th Order God Emperor Realm, I will need to devour a large number of divine weapons. It might take some time. Wang Xian muttered to himself. However, with the addition of the Earth Divine Dragon, the 5 elements grindstone was already terrifying. With his current strength and the 5 elements grindstone, he could fight against 4 to 5 ordinary Peak God Emperor Realm experts. If 2 Peak God Emperor Realm experts stood in front of him, he could kill them in a matter of seconds. Now that the 5 elements grindstone is fully formed, I can fuse the Light and Darkness Divine Dragon into the Yin-Yang Dragon Coil. Wang Xian pondered for a moment, but gave up on this idea. There were more divine weapons in the 5 elements than the Light and Darkness Divine Dragons. Once these two divine weapons were fused into the divine weapons as weapon spirits, it would be even more difficult to improve them. Next, I'll destroy the Ice Mountain first, then the Dragon Descendants race, Nine Swords race, and Skeleton race. Wang Xian's eyes flickered with killing intent. Whether it was for Lingxiu, the fairy dragon race, or the half-dragon with the divine dragon bloodline, he had to destroy them, destroying 3 low-level races in the universe, announcing the rise of the Dragon Palace and establishing a foothold in the universe. However, it wasn't that easy to destroy them. For the next 2 days, Wang Xian was in no hurry. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. After being separated from Sun Lingxiu for so long, he naturally had to accompany her. He accompanied her for 2 days and 2 nights. The fairy dragon race wandered around the Dragon Palace in these 2 days, their faces filled with excitement. Immortal Spirit Yuan, it's up to you whether you want to stay here or in the Milky Way. I have something to ask you. 2 days later, Wang Xian called Immortal Spirit Yuan and the rest over. There were 3 Peak God Emperor experts in the fairy dragon race, and Immortal Spirit Yuan wasn't one of them. The 3 Peak God Emperors were the fairy dragon race and the 3 old ladies. Please ask, Dragon King. We'll definitely tell you everything we know. Immortal Spirit Yuan and the rest replied respectfully. Are there any universe venerable level wild beasts in the volcano region? Do you know of the nests of some Peak God Emperor wild beasts there? Wang Xian asked. If Immortal Spirit Yuan and the rest had a good understanding of the volcano region, and if there weren't any universe venerable level wild beasts there, they could totally wipe out the volcano region. Reporting to Dragon King, there's a universe venerable level wild beast in the volcano region. Also, we know of the nest of a race that has a few Peak God Emperor wild beasts. Chapter 3063. There's a universe supremacy level wild beast in the volcano region? Wang Xian frowned slightly when he heard Xian Lingyuan and the rest report. Even he had to be careful when dealing with a universe supremacy level existence. If he were to be attacked first, Wang Xian might even die there. Yes, Dragon King. There's a universe supremacy level wild beast in the volcano region. However, that wild beast isn't overly violent. It lives under the largest volcano in the center. If we don't provoke it, it shouldn't attack us. Moreover, it hibernates for hundreds or even thousands of years. We have never seen its true form. Xian Lingyuan said. That peak stage God Emperor Desolate Beast race you mentioned, is it far away from that Cosmos Paragon Desolate Beast? There are a few peak Emperor God Beasts. Wang Xian continued asking Xian Lingyuan and the rest. According to the information we received, there are 3 of them. We can't be sure if there are more. They are very far away from the universe supremacy level wild beasts. In fact, no wild beast dares to go near the center. Some human experts don't dare to go near there, for fear of offending the universe supremacy level wild beast. Xian Lingyuan and the rest said. 3? We can deal with it. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He looked at the 3 elders and said, Follow me. We'll annihilate that wild beast race. Yes, Dragon King. The 3 fairy dragon elders nodded. Now that they had joined the Dragon Palace, they understood that as long as there were resources, the members of the Dragon Palace could improve rapidly. To them, this improvement was heaven-defying and unreasonable. Let's go. We'll act now. Wang Xian stood up and said to them, Yes. Xian Lingyuan and the rest nodded and followed behind Wang Xian. Dragon King, aren't we bringing some men over? Xian Lingyuan asked Wang Xian as they came to the teleportation formation. There's no need. The few of us are enough. Wang Xian smiled. He stepped into the teleportation formation and arrived at the Dragon Palace in the volcano region. When he came to the Milky Way, he had thought of building a Dragon Palace here. However, after considering that there were too many powerful aquatic creatures and he was too weak, he gave up the idea. Now, the Dragon Palace in the volcano region was very safe and convenient. Dragon King, that blazed tortoise-winged beast is a desolate beast race. It is very far from us and will take about a day's flight. The volcano region was huge. When Wang Xian and the rest flew out of the Dragon Palace, Xian Lingyuan pointed in a direction. I'll lead the way. You guys point the way. Wang Xian said to them. He extended his unparalleled sacred wings and enveloped them. This way. Xianling Yuan pointed in a direction. Wang Xian made a move and flew towards the direction of the blazing turtle-winged beast at a terrifying speed. Wang Xian, whose fighting power had increased to the peak Emperor God realm, had also reached a terrifying speed. It was comparable to a normal universe night speed. With a slight movement of his body, he directly rushed into the void crack. With your speed, Dragon King, you should be able to reach the territory of the turtle-winged beasts in about an hour. A fairy dragon elder said in shock. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile as he sped along. After entering the spatial crack, there was no resistance, no flames, and no seawater. Everything was pitch black. Wang Xian used his dragon eyes to look through the space and sense the direction. An hour later, Wang Xian stopped and returned to the outside of the universe. He scanned the surroundings. Dragon King, it should be in that direction. I've only been here once. A fairy dragon elder looked to the right and said, given our strength, we don't have to worry. Wang Xian nodded his head and flew towards the right. Woo-woo-woo. After flying for a minute, he suddenly sensed a sound coming from below. It was accompanied by an attack coming towards them. Huh. Wang Xian was taken aback. He looked down and saw a savage beast with thick, fiery red wings, a tortoise shell, and a ferocious head charging towards them. Blazing turtle-winged beast. Wang Xian waved his arm and the 5 elements grindstone smashed down. Boom. The blazing turtle-winged beast was suppressed instantly. The 5 elements energy sealed it tightly. A 7th order God Emperor realm blazing turtle-winged beast. Xianling Yuan said. I didn't expect it to hide so deeply that even we couldn't sense it. Wang Xian said with surprise. Dragon King. This is the lair of the blazing turtle-winged beast. They are almost completely integrated with the lava here. It's hard to sense them. An elder fairy dragon elder said, if a peak emperor god blazing turtle-winged beast were to hide, it would be even harder for us to detect it. This is already the territory of the blazing turtle-winged beast. This is going to be troublesome. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and hesitated for a moment. He waved his arm and a large amount of dragon blood condensed into an arowana. The arowana swayed its body and swam forward quickly. 90% of living creatures can't resist the temptation of the blood of a divine dragon. The blazing turtle-winged beast wouldn't be too wary of an arowana appearing in their territory. An elder fairy dragon elder said with a smile. Wang Xian nodded his head and controlled the arowana to swim quickly with his mind. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Soon, blazing turtle-winged beasts flew out from the lava below. They stared at the arowana and chased after it. The movements of some blazing turtle-winged beasts attracted the attention of others. Soon, within a radius of 1 billion kilometers, the blazing turtle-winged beast chased after the arowana in a frenzy. 1/9th Order God Emperor and over 400 blazing turtle emperor god beasts. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone attacked the blazing turtle-winged beast. Woo-woo-woo. Woo-woo-woo. The group of blazing turtle-winged beasts felt threatened. They raised their heads and let out a series of dull cries that spread to the surroundings. Oh no, Dragon King. They are calling for help. Fairy Dragon and the other 3 said with vigilance on their faces. It's fine. Get ready. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and scanned the surroundings. He could sense waves of terrifying auras rushing towards him. 3 of them had terrifying auras and were definitely peak Emperor God realm existences. Woo-woo. Soon, a humongous figure appeared in Wang Xian's sight. It was 10,000 meters in size and had 4 enormous wings on both sides. Its body was covered in flames, and its shell was emitting a scarlet glow. A wave of scorching aura rushed towards him. I'll kill one in a second. You guys hold off the other 2. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He moved and disappeared instantly. In the next moment, he appeared above the peak Emperor God Emperor blazing turtle-winged beast. Chapter 3064. Killing tortoise-winged beast below, 5 elements dragon claw. 5 elements grind. When Wang Xian appeared above the peak stage God Emperor tortoise-winged beast, the 5 elements dragon claw shrouded it. At the same time, the five elements grind pressed downwards. Hong hong hong. The peak stage god emperor tortoise-winged beast trembled and blood seeped out from its body. Even when the terrifying attack landed on its tortoise shell, it was heavily injured. Wang Xian's attack ended, and it could not react in time. Dragon Claw, Annihilation, break for me. Wang Xian's eyes were cold as he slammed his dragon claw down on the tortoise shell. The grayish annihilation force on the five elements grind charged towards the tortoise shell. At this moment, Wang Xian was aiming for a one-hit kill. Facing three peak stage god emperor tortoise-winged beasts, the possibility of Wang Xian taming them was extremely low. While he was taming one, the other two would either attack him or escape. Hence, he had to kill two quickly before taming the last one. Hong. That fire-winged tortoise-winged beast felt death looming over it. It was infuriated. Scorching flames surged from its body and engulfed a radius of a few 100 million kilometers. Wang Xian was the first to bear the brunt of it. Ka ka ka. Wang Xian's body was completely covered with dragon scales. The fiery red dragon scales were also emitting scorching flames. A fire divine dragon was circling around him. Ka ka ka. Below, Wang Xian's dragon claw caused the tortoiseshell to crack. The five elements grind's annihilation force surged towards its body. Woo! Woo woo! Behind, the two peak stage god emperor tortoise-winged beasts saw their comrade being attacked. They roared and charged towards Wang Xian. At the same time, the surrounding fire-winged beasts were riled up and charged towards them. Moreover, they could sense more and more fire-winged beasts charging towards them. Attack! Fairy Dragon, the three elders, Xianling Yuan and the others immediately attacked the two peak stage emperor god tortoise-winged beasts and the surrounding tortoise-winged beasts. Pong! At this moment, heavy sounds were heard from Wang Xian's side. The five elemental grindstone and the dragon claw landed heavily on the heavily wounded blazing-winged tortoise's body at the same time. The heavily wounded blazing-winged tortoise was on the verge of death, its life force rapidly fading away. Buzz! Wang Xian grabbed its corpse and threw it into the mother nest. His gaze landed on the other peak stage god emperor fire, tortoise-winged beast. He flapped his unbeginning saint wings and instantly appeared above it. Roar! That peak stage god emperor fire-winged tortoise sensed Wang Xian's arrival. It lifted its head and shot a terrifying fire pillar at him. Blazing turtle-winged beasts, each 10 meters in size, suddenly rushed out of its shell. Boom boom boom. The countless small blazed tortoise-winged beasts immediately exploded. Sensing the terrifying attack, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. With a shift of his body, he dodged the attack instantly. With his speed that far exceeded others of the same level, attacks from desolate beasts of the same level could not even touch him. Woo woo woo. When the blazing winged tortoise saw that its nomological sacred art had been evaded, it revealed a look of rage and fear. Voila! Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning saint wings and instantly appeared behind it. With a wave of his arm, a wave of energy was injected into the unbeginning saint wings. The five divine dragons on the unbeginning saint wings let out a roar. Each of them condensed their attributes into a divine dragon and attacked the blazing winged tortoise. The blazing winged tortoise sensed the threat behind it. It immediately turned around and shivered. The surrounding lava condensed into two lava tornadoes and attacked the five divine dragons. Voila! The unbeginning saint wings flapped and instantly appeared behind the blazing winged tortoise. The peak stage god emperor fire winged tortoise that was dealing with the five elements great grind instantly felt an intense pain coming from its tail, following which a terrifying dragon claw pressed down on its body. Woo woo woo. It let out a panicked roar. The five elements great grind spun and released five divine dragons that intertwined together to form a five-colored divine dragon. The five-colored divine dragon gradually turned into a grayish dragon claw and attacked the blazing winged tortoise. Roar! Sensing a threatening attack coming towards it, it struggled in fear. Hong! Two dragon claws landed on its body, causing it to bleed profusely. Woo 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 woo. On the other side, The last peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise saw the situation of its comrade. Its eyes were filled with fear. In less than a minute, one of its kind was killed and the other was subdued. Hong hong hong. It possessed strong combat instincts. A powerful flaming tortoise-shell defense rose from its body. Attack. The three fairy dragon elders saw Wang Xian's terrifying strength and were excited. They attacked this peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise with all their might. Wang. However, when their attacks landed on the flaming tortoise shell, the blazing winged tortoise disappeared. It escaped. It actually ran away. The three elders of the fairy dragon were also slightly taken aback and said in astonishment, "Mm?" Wang Xian sensed the third peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise escaping and was stunned. Woo woo woo. Just as one escaped, another roar could be heard from behind. The aura of a peak stage god emperor could be felt. Another peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise led a few thousand emperor god subordinates and charged over. One escaped, another one came. Just nice. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a tinge of excitement. He struck the blazing winged tortoise with his dragon claws and kept it. Subdue this one. Seeing the blazing winged tortoise charging over, he charged forward. The peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise sensed the situation and was confused when it saw the aura of its comrades disappearing. Dragon eyes locking 8 desolations. Wang Xian charged over. In order to prevent it from escaping, he used his law sacred art to seal it. Woo woo. That peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise saw the dense chains in front of it. It opened its mouth and spat out fire ropes that clashed against the chains. Pung pung pung. An intense collision could be heard. Wang Xian's eyes were cold. His body was emitting 8-colored radiance, and his dragon scales were wrapped around him. Wang Xian extended his dragon claws and clawed at its head. Hong hong. That peak stage god Emperor Fire-winged tortoise saw Wang Xian attacking it. Its 4 flesh wings slapped the ground lightly. Below the ground, pillars of fire charged towards Wang Xian. Voila! At this moment, he increased his speed and landed on the body of the blazing winged tortoise. He revealed a smile. Hong! The dragon claws landed on it and created a loud explosion. The seabed within a radius of billions of kilometers trembled and the magma rumbled. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.